Like she had the hard part of it, and two, like
Yeah.
being by yourself, like pregnant, and it's like yeah,
Yeah.
you got friends and stuff, but like, it's like your dog and like your belly. Like, I'm sure it, shit was
Yeah.
tough. But I mean, she
Yeah.
did a really, really good job. And like I'm like really lucky that my mom lives in Wilmington. So like, which is just like crazy circumstance. So I'm from Kansas City. It's where my mom lived mostly. And just like random, or my stepdad's from like Wilson, North Carolina. So anyways, I had family out here. So that was good. But yeah, but then down the road, she wouldn't mind me talking about this. She got like hypertension. So I don't know if like you guys, yeah. So, but it's like when you hear this stuff and it's like you're on a ship and like you just got like, it's like little messages, you can't have like a full conversation all the time. So it's like,
Dude,
we talked about the fuck out.
We talked about it in the past, but being on the boat during COVID, like it was already bad enough, but just being on ship and only getting a little piece of information here and there, like we thought the world ended and we were going to come back to like, nothing. So I can only imagine you hear one thing that's like going on with the pregnancy, and then, do you even have the ability to Google like how serious is hypertension? Like I imagine your mind is just racing.
And that's a mistake 9 times out of 10 to start Googling shit.
Well, one of my buddies, his sister, she's like a delivery nurse, literally, and she does for like preeclampsia. So like a step above hypertension, right? So like that was like her specialty. So like he essentially emailed her with like a list of my questions, and she was like, I see this every day, like the preeclampsia, not even just like the hypertension, like like never seen anything go wrong, like maybe may have to stay in the hospital, or like, like the mom, same thing, like for like blood pressure reasons and stuff. But all in all, like pretty good. So like that was good.
Huge, to have that.
And it was like an induction date too. So like that was like another thing that was like, looking back, was really good, because compared to just like sitting around, like, so there was, out of all the staff sergeants, so there was one motor T guy and one of the guys who was with 1-8 with me. We all three had our kids within like 7 days of each other.
Oh damn!
We're all living together too. So like, yeah. So like that was a pretty like the motor T guy, really cool dude too. Good friend of mine now. Like now I met him. So his kid, like we're both like, we had an ability to use our phones. So like the ship, I don't know like how much in the weeds I can get to it, but they pretty much set up your phone to where you have Wi-Fi, right? So like I was able to talk to her, like from when she got inducted. But then we pulled into a port. So I'm like going out to a hotel, like with my friends.
The day your kid's born, you guys pulled into a port?
Yeah, so the day my kid was born, and it's on, like my kid, so he was born on Friday the 13th, September, so September 13th. So that's great for, the Love men. Like I'm sure you'd be doing great things.
Yeah,
well, you don't see him on Netflix, but
he'll be on the show in about 25 years, and
yeah. But I got a bag with my friends. We're going to a hotel, which like didn't turn out to be a hotel. It's like an Airbnb. We're in it's like Rhodes, Greece. Really cool place. But
you
like
stopped in Greece?
Yeah, we had a lot of stops. I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit later. But
yeah,
I feel like such a piece of shit because I'm going to a hotel with a bag with my friends trying to FaceTime, my girl. Wow. She's in the hospital. Like, so she was there for like 36 hours, just like going through the ringer, trying to get this kid out.
Oh,
yeah.
And yeah, but yeah, so anyways, we got in, and so the guys went out, get some drinks and stuff. I'm like, I gotta stay here, obviously. I'm not gonna like, FaceTime in at the bar like while my kid's being born, But
I think it's been done a lot.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately.
But like literally, I was FaceTiming her. She was like, "I feel like pressure, whatever," and then like 10 minutes later, kids out after like 36 hours.
So you're
Like,
you're in a hotel in a random place in Greece that you've never been to, and you're just watching this go down over FaceTime.
yeah, over FaceTime, like standing like phone on the router because like the feed wasn't the best. It was really good, like as she was like giving birth, but it was kind of like going in and out. So, but yeah, so like
That's
actually like
crazy.
timeline wise, it worked out pretty well compared to being on the ship.
What were you doing in there? Like pacing around, doing push-ups? Like I could
No,
imagine.
I was just sitting there
Amped up.
because like you don't like because you know when you're like on FaceTime, but there's nothing for you to say. You know, it's just like you're just trying to be there. You know,
Yeah.
so that's essentially like what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice you got to the hotel in time for all that too, and you could just like have some time to sit there and chill.
Oh,
Instead of, like,
dude, it
pulling
happened
in, you had
probably
to
like
walk over.
30 minutes after we got in.
That's
And
crazy.
it took us like
Yeah.
45 minutes because we're calling someone and you know he speaks Greek or whatever. Like, yo, this doesn't look like a hotel. Like, code to get in. You know.
What? Yeah.
It's like
Was it? You said it's like an Airbnb or like kind of like a hostel.
kind
thing?
of, yeah, but it's like it's really weird because like again, you're doing this all from ship. Like you're using like the ship internet, so it's like you got
Yeah.
you know 7 to 10 minutes to kind of like really figure it out, like where you're gonna be staying, if not flex. You know, like. But yeah, that was the only time I took overnight or anything the whole deployment. The rest of the time I just went out, came back to the ship. But yeah,
Where else? Where else did you guys hit up for? While you're out?
so we went to 2 places in France. God, I can't remember. 2 places in France. We were supposed to participate in like the Normandy anniversary, like 80th anniversary.
Yeah, I saw that going around on the internet.
Yeah, that kind of fell through, but some dudes got to like fly in and be there for that. So like be like Osprey. So like that was kind of cool. We went to Rota, Spain, I think. We went to Turkey. That was like chaos. Like that stuff you saw like on the news. I don't know, like those guys got bags on their heads. Did you guys see that?
No.
The guys who
No, I don't think so.
like if you look at it, like yeah, some guys like yeah. Anyways, that was when we were there. Well, not specifically my ship, but the BLT. So kind of Turkey was like an off go. Maybe that was around like August time frame.
Where 2 Marines got assaulted.
Yeah, it was like so like they actually it's kind of weird about this, like just briefly talk about this, but like the so like they throw bags over your head and it was like something to do with what happened to some of their citizens in the beginning of the Iraq war, right? And there was 2 guys from a different ship, and I mean all in all when you think about it, like they handled it pretty well. Like they weren't like throwing fists or anything, you know what I'm saying? When you think about it, like if that happened to you, like what would you do? You know what I'm saying?
So they were protesting that you guys were there because of stuff that happened. Like
no, they were. I mean, I think the protests were because of all the stuff going on, and you know, with Israel and like you know, like the Gaza Strip and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I mean, yeah, so like, yeah, that happened. But I mean,
holy shit.
Yeah, we get actually briefed about that. I mean, there's not much you can do. I mean, just like from like what I know, the guys were just walking. They weren't causing any trouble. You know, they weren't talking to anybody.
Yeah.
Just kind of got, you know, ambushed. And I mean, like when you think about it, like could have gone like you know go some like crazy fists or something like that. It just gets worse. But essentially, it's, you know, I think they got some help like pretty fast.
Yeah,
but
it could have gone way differently depending on who got wrapped up.
Oh yeah, I know. But
throw a bag over Duke's head, he would have started flying kicks at people.
Oh my god!
Shit would have escalated quickly.
It would have started a international.
Even high security like Turkish prison, you know.
Yeah, dude.
Feel like Bronson,
But that sounds like a pretty nice. We've talked about this on the show before that there's always Marines out there on those ships, and like if there's no combat mission, you're going to those other countries to build relations. Like, did you guys do some training with any other militaries or?
So like this is like the weird thing because of what was going on. We were like prepping for the Neo, right? So like the non-combatant evacuation of people in Lebanon. So what they did is they made the call. So all of our vehicles, like we call it rolling stock. So anything with wheels, essentially, except like 8 vehicles, like JLTVs, like big Humvees, right? We took off the ship, which was actually really nice because, like, if you ever been in the ship, you have like the well deck, and then like where you park all the vehicles, that was all empty, so you could like run and stuff. But they took that off because they were prepping just in case we had to do the evacuation. So like, I know like both of you guys know, like when you're on deployment, it's like, hey, this comes up. There's like percentage you're gonna go. Everyone's like thinking it's gonna happen. That was pretty much the whole deployment. But I mean, when you think about it, though, it's like, hey, you have like, say, like realistically, you have like a 10% chance of doing it. You want to be ready, and like the whole thing was we had to be on like a 72 to 96 hour. Kind of it would fluctuate, but like a tether, so like a standby to where like if you got the call from the State Department, we could react. So we pretty much just floated 72 hours to 96 hours away from, Lebanon, the whole deployment. But we still got to make stops, which is kind of weird. So it's like we have no vehicles or anything like that, but we're still hitting Liberty ports. But they're all within like the 72-hour tether,
Right. You can make it back in case.
But we couldn't train for that because they're like, if you get off with all your gear and you're like 4 hours inland, or it takes Ospreys to get back on, then we won't make that, that tether compared to like, because now this is the weird thing too. Like, I remember back to like Oki, Dave, where if we left our rooms, like our phones didn't work. That's like not the case anymore. So like everyone's got like the international plans are more, available and stuff. So pretty much everyone can use their phone. So it's almost like being in America, it's like send a text in the signal chat, hey, come back, and you can make those timelines. Like everyone can be back within 3 hours. So
and even like, I'm sure it's probably so much better now, but you remember in the Middle East using those little Wi-Fi pucks?
Oh yeah.
You could have those in your pocket, and then I don't know, probably if there's guys in Iraq right now probably have Ethernet cables and everything. Like, it's probably so much better now.
Yeah, they charge us out of the ass for those little pucks too.
What'd you say?
They charged us out of the ass for those little pucks. You had to buy them at the little fucking PX place.
Oh yeah. What'd you always call them? The Azamats?
The guys running the store.
Yeah. These guys are making a killing off all of us idiots.
I could buy a puck from that guy, and 2 hours later, be fucking give me a haircut. Crack me in the back of the head.
Yeah. I think back with Sean Childress. I have like just countless memories. Like every times when we were in Kuwait, we would walk over to that little shop like every day and talk to those guys and just buy a protein bar or something. There was just like nothing to do, so I just remember walking that street pretty much every day with Sean, and we'd always go mess with those guys and buy something, and they try to sell you like this like fake diamond necklace, like sir, take it for your late, and it's like, no.
They didn't have a bad stock in there. It's just a bunch of random shit.
Yeah, nice
They got protein and pre-workout, which was nice. That was the biggest plus.
Yes, I was only there for like a little, like 2 weeks before, like I did my, like not this last deployment, but the Syria deployment. And then like we went back to like Jabber for like a month or something, and that was nothing to write home about.
Yeah.
Which one were you on, Dave? When I saw you and Moore for like a day.
Yeah, we were getting ready to go back home, and you guys were getting ready to go to Syria, and you came.
Yeah, because I went Advon, so I was like OFP. I was by myself. I'm like, I need someone. I need to connect to Wi-Fi and meet like an ally or something. It's lonely over here, man.
Yeah, and then you find us. Dude, we're in like this crappy little room. We were catching mice like every day, because they were setting up all these traps. Like, and then we would just lay in bed and watch and wait for the mice to go into the traps. Like, we were so bored.
Dude, I walked in there. I remember you were set up or whatever, and you had like Red Dead Redemption just came out, like the new one at the time.
Yeah,
and you were playing that. I was like, of course, Dave's got his Xbox.
Yeah, dude. But you know how it is when like
you could be going down the streets of Fallujah. It's like, all right, we got 8 hours. Set it up, play against the wall.
Yeah, dude. I seen some of those old pictures from like early in the war, and there was guys that had like this janky Halo 2 setup, and they're like playing on the side of a road somewhere. And I was like, yeah, we would definitely be hanging out with those guys, all the nerds.
Yeah, man. But that deployment was nothing really to write home about. Like, to be honest, it was probably like my least favorite one, just because like you're just on the ship, man. Like,
yeah,
and
it's brutal. Do you guys have a good gym?
No, but we had like the hitbox. They brought one of those on.
Yeah,
and like
nice.
I do like a lot of CrossFit stuff. It's kind of like my hobby outside of the Marine Corps. So like it was good for me, and like it kind of sucked that the ship was like moving and stuff. But I mean, whatever, it was good enough. But I mean, I don't think the gym, because we were the small deck, like we were the LSD, so which was good. And like, but I'll say the one good thing is like there's usually problems with like the Navy and the Marine Corps. Like our ship was good, like good relationship, like all the like the first classes for like the enlisted is like equal to the staff sergeants. Like we all had like a really good relationship. Yeah, mine was the Oak Hill. I don't know if they got a picture of that. But yeah, small ship, but I mean it was fine. But the living situation though, like I figured that I was like, cool, I'm a staff sergeant now. First deployment as a staff sergeant, there's gonna be like some like extra privileges, like go to the front of the line of chow or something like that, or like maybe a gym hour. Nope, nothing. You're like the same as like you're gin pop, man.
I'm trying to think.
Gin pop.
I don't even. Yeah, I'm trying. I know every ship was a little different, but yeah, the Navy, like the Navy, it's like, isn't it like you're not like anything special until you're like a chief, basically. Like in the Marine Corps, Marine Corps puts a lot more pressure on young guys to like step up as leaders. So like we're used to maybe, and it's nothing crazy, but like maybe a couple perks being a corporal and sergeant, and it kind of works its way up. Like,
well, it's weird because it's like I like relate it to like so like you have like their big MOSs, right? Like their jobs. So like you might have like a first class, so like an E6 who's in charge of like 20 people or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then like the IT guy, and it's like a chief and he's in charge of like 3 people, or like they have a job that's like literally the ship store, like sales. So like for us, like a PX MOS, right? And like that chief's in charge of like 4 people, or 3 people, something really small. So
acting like
it fluctuates.
Handing you a bag of Doritos.
Well, it's the same as I mean, it's the same as like the Intel guys. I'm saying it's like, oh, you're like a staff sergeant with Intel. You got like 3 people that work for you. Like a sergeant, like 2 corporals or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So like, but I mean, it's culture wise, it's different. Yeah, because they have all these chiefs. We had like 2 gunnies, like 2 E7s, from the Marine side. Like ones were company guns, and the other was the mortar platoons, like the 81's platoon sergeant. He was like that arty guy. So, like, just like shows like the difference.
Yeah, it's the Marines definitely do a good job of like you have responsibilities so early. I think we were talking about that with I think our buddy Faust. How it's just all of a sudden you're just like 20 years old and might be in charge of 12 guys, and you're like, you have to just grow up fast, and
well, it's like really fast. Like I'm sure we'll get into it like a little bit later, like with like the difference with the fleet and stuff. But I mean, guys are picking up staff sergeant at like they're like 25, or some are like 24, like 6.5, 7 years,
yeah,
where it's like it's like a big difference between like, and like I think about it, like between like 6 and 7 years to like 9 years, like that's like. It's like a significant, it's like a whole like workup deployment, or like if you're doing like especially a special duty assignment, like that's like you completing that, so it's like it makes a difference, just that 2 years of maturity, but like guys are picking up fast, like really fast.
Do you think that's because like the retention's low? Like so many people are getting out, and like
I don't know. It's different. Like 1.8, there's not a ton of guys getting out. It's compared to like when I was in 3-4, right? Like in 29 pumps, my whole section got out. There was not a single guy who was in my section. And like I was in that weird spot because we stood up that battalion. I had, I was with the same guys for 3.5 years, like 5 new guys in the whole platoon. That's it, like which is pretty rare. So, but every one of them got out. I don't think there's anyone in that platoon left but me, to be honest, including like platoon sergeant, platoon commander.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing with, when we talk about like experiences may vary, like being a 29 Palms infantry Marine, it really, people get the full experience, and then they're quick to, where somebody, like I did see a lot more retention on the East Coast because maybe just a little better quality of life, and it's a better place to live. And
you can buy a house, it's like, oh, I'm going to do 4 more years, pay off my house, compared to like, I'm not going to do that in 29, like, there's not like a limited amount of real estate there, like, I think you're good.
Yeah, and fuck living out there, fuck having a house out there.
Yeah, like no one's buying, like you want to live on base, compared to here, it's like, you don't, like, why live on base? Like, you can live off base. It's, like, with the BAH, you can pay your mortgage and still pocket, at least a couple $100.
Yeah. And North Carolina's a nice place to live.
Yeah, dude. But, I mean, Marine Corps is different out here.
Are you staying in North Carolina for a while?
Yeah, so I'm, like, in between things. Like, I got orders back to SOI. Where we'll see what happens with that. It's like, for me, like a little bit more soon than I'd like, like I kind of would like to stay in the fleet, and there's some stuff I've been like really working on the last year and a half that I would kind of like want to see through, with some of like the ATAC stuff, like networking and like SUAS stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna be out here at least for another, 2 years and some change.
Yeah, it's a tough spot because I know, like, we all just wanted to like keep deploying, keep doing things, and you just recently got done being a combat instructor.
Yeah.
But with the new baby, it's like a few years of like a steady, somewhat normal job. More set hours could be nice.
I'll talk a little bit on that, like the combat instructor thing, because like not a lot of people like know about it unless you do it, right? And I had the opportunity to where like I did ITB, which is like infantry training battalion. You're pushing privates, right? Then I went to the WIG, which is like the weapons instructor group. So for guys like me and Dave, like he was an assaultman, like you be an instructor just for the assaultman. For me, I was a machine gunner.
Nick was a assaultman too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So like for you guys, you know what I'm saying? So like we would leave the 0311s for the guys who weren't Marines, right? And then go do like our specific job. So for the weapons instructor group, it's like, or the IG on the West Coast, right? That just instructor group. That's all you do. Like you don't have to deal with like privates, buddy rushing or shooting their rifle and stuff. It's really nice. Quite frankly, if you want to like damn near not feel like a Marine, but still do the thing, like that's the place to work, But worked there. Then I was at the Advanced Infantry Training Battalion. So It's like weird there. Like, so like when I was pushing privates, you're like the first month, and this was the old, like they switched it up. The PO, like it's 13 weeks now, compared to like the 8 or 9 weeks when we went through, for all of us.
Yeah, it was
But
like
the first 4 months was brutal, dude. Like, you're not going home. Because it's just like why go, like, because this is just my thing. Some guys would go home, but I'm like, if I can get 8 hours or 7 hours or 6 hours and sleep out in the field, like in my truck, or set up a tent, like you're not grinding it out, you know what I'm saying? Like you can bring some comfortable stuff, or go home and get like 4 hours of sleep. Like I'm gonna stay out there, you know, so you're gone a lot. But you have duty like every other day. Now it's like one instructor to, you know, or 2 instructors to like 20 guys. So it's like you have to be there all the time. Like, so the workload's crazy. So a lot of those guys, I mean, they voiced it. I mean, you have to do it, you know? It's just like, it's a special duty assignment, you know, and it's an honorable thing to do, but like someone's got to do it. But like it's not like, oh, cool, I got my weekends, because you're probably staying in duty Saturday or Sunday, and you're training from, you know, 5 to probably 10 o'clock. Like anyone who says it's any different just probably isn't doing their job right, you know? Right. So that's just the ITB side. The instructor group, which they kind of got rid of, but at least when I was there, dude, I'd wake up at like 7 o'clock, go to the gym, kind of drag my feet, go into work, and pretty much all I did was do ranges. So 240, the Mark 19 and 50 cal, and teach the Mark 19. Like, and whenever they hit the test out, I have to be there. So like there was times I'd go in, you know, work out, never put my uniform on, and be like, all right, and just drive to Topsail Beach, you know, and hang out, you know, drink some beers.
Yeah.
And it's like a dangerous slope to go down, you know. And then and then when I was at AITB, I got to be the chief at Advanced Machine Gun Corps, so Advanced Infantry Training Battalion. Yeah. That was the perfect mix, because it's like you work hard for like 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and then you get an off cycle.
Cycles.
Yeah. So you get like 3 weeks off. Sometimes we get like a month and some change off. So it was really, and you're working like with just staff sergeants or sergeants and up, you know what I'm saying? Like, good to go guys. Like, not like I would say like there's no like, it's like B team and up, you know, like there's no C team guy, you know, or those guys who kind of just got orders. Like you get the board out, and it's a good group, you know what I'm saying? But you're still working a ton, but then you get the off cycle, you know? So, but either way, when you go to SOI, it's not like, it's like, yeah, you're home, but like a lot of the, you know, spouses have said, it's like, I almost wish you were deployed, because like, you're not actually home, but you are. Cause it's like, I want like to rely on you to like do some stuff, but like, you know, whether it's like the kid or mowing the grass, or, you know, like, or even if you don't have kids or anything like that, it's like, hey, I got like a work dinner. No, I can't go because of, you know, and that's just like a continuous thing, you know, and you're just tired. Like you want to come home and like sleep, but you know, you can't, you know, so it's, so that's why it makes it easier to like, it's like, do I go home and like have to like stay up, or, you know, either like see my wife do stuff, or just stay at the office and sleep, you know?
Yeah.
You're gonna, you know, either one's gonna have its negative effect, you know?
Yeah.
So,
but taking care of your sleep, then you're just that much more able to handle that angry phone call the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my wife's always telling me, I wish you were deployed, and I say I'm not even in anymore.
Yeah, man. But it's so it's like that's where I got orders to next, and like I don't want to, like, for me, like I want to work, like once you go to AITB, you don't want to do anything else but that, you know. Like,
you don't want to go back to
the privates, but
chaos.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'm trying to stay with 1.8, but got some stuff in the works right now to get that all switched up, but you know, it's just tough.
Yeah, can you talk about any of that? When we spoke on the phone, you mentioned doing a little bit of work with some of the some drones and with the tablet.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys will be able to see this. I got it right here. So there's this thing. It's called the Tactical Assault Kit. Like, so like the Green Berets that were walking around when we were doing like the OIR deployments and stuff. Like this, and think this is like 2018, 2019, 2016. Like the system goes back pretty far, but the one that we're using is called the Android Tactical Assault Kit. Now, like they have TAK. Like there's an app for it, so you can get it on your iPhone and stuff like that. This is obviously like the military version, so they have like a civilian version, and we're using the military version. But essentially, what it is it's just it's like a map, and what it does is it has plugins. So like I have an SUAS plugin, so I can connect my tablet right to a drone, get the feed, but still see my map, right?
Oh shit.
So I'm gonna try and show you guys this video. I hope you can see it. If not, I can airdrop it.
I think we'll be able to see it.
All right, 1 second. I don't know how to make this full screen. Okay, so here's my tablet. So you see this? You guys see that green dot or box?
Yeah. Can you raise it a little bit higher? There you go.
So this is us flying. It's connected to my tablet right now, right? And there's that green box. So with that green box, I'm gonna move it a little bit. Now you see, here's my map. So you still see the screen. So with that green box, essentially what I can do is I tap it. It's like on the right side of my screen. It's gonna plot the point on the left side of my screen. So
you could plot points with the drone?
Yeah. So
That's
it's called
crazy.
a gimbal tool. And again, like none of this is like secret stuff. I mean, and then this is like another thing.
Yeah, we're about to lose all of our YouTube privileges.
Yeah, this is like stuff that's just kind of like been around, like because I mean, people use it with their own commercial drones, right?
Yeah,
like, I'm not gonna get into like the fires tools and stuff. Like, there's tons of tools. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, my gears are already turning for like just using that for
possibility.
Fire and
yeah, dude, it's
insane.
But yeah, when I'm kind of done explaining it, I'm going to tell you like the benefits of it. But now it's just like, okay, that's with the SUAS, right? Without getting too much into it, I can connect my tablet to it. I see where the pilot's flying. I can, plot stuff depending on what platform I'm on. And now it's on my map. Now, like, I'm going to refine it, and stuff like that. But I have a general idea. It's clutch, right? It's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Now, like, there's tons of other plugins. Like, you can use this with, like, you can use it with mortars, machine guns. There's a lot of stuff that is compatible with it where it just does math for you, right? And then it's just like as a standalone. So like think like when we would go out to the field, right? We go in the defense, you do like a fire plan sketch, right? Or like think like the fixed site security for like the deployments, like when you guys went to like Iraq and stuff, range cards, you would have like a big map of like sectors and stuff like that. But we're using like paper. It just takes a little bit longer. Right. So, like, look at that. This is just one field op I have saved here in Lejeune. That's Gizra Fob. You see that?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
So that's just like the sectors. And this is like the most basic tools they have, right? It's just a range and measure tool and just plotting little icons, right?
That's way better than fucking the paper.
Yeah. And so, like,
I'm assuming it's collaborative, right? So like a squad leader could put his stuff in, and then the platoon commander would see it.
So that's
awesome.
That's what I'm working on right now is the network side. So like, long story short is we're just like we're always just like a little bit behind. So it's like the Marine Corps gives me a tablet, right? And then they're like, okay, cool. Like I have this and I have this good software. Then they're like, hey, here's this radio, new radio. So we have like 163s. It's like, okay, awesome. Now, like, you would think I could put them together and make them talk. No, because there's like waveforms and there's stuff that like we have to load in these radios that cost money that make these work. There's cables, right? There's all this stuff. So like that's what I've been working on. So like essentially on the deployment, what I did was I borrowed S20. So think Galaxy S20s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
TEs for tactical edition. I borrowed them from another unit that was deployed with us, and they have these other radios. They're I'm not gonna say that they're pretty high speed radio. Okay, they don't look anything like our radios, but the Marine Corps has them, and they can talk line of sight, satellites, all this stuff, right? And so pretty much what we did is one of the only train op we did. I just had guys walk around. I'm like, walk around, use this. I'm gonna put up the drone. We're gonna retrans, which I mean like by retrans, it's like one radio talks to another radio that talks. So it's like radio, radio up here, a radio down here. This one can talk to this one. This one can talk to this one. So now we all talk, right?
Right.
Like the retrans.
Connect the
We're
dots.
doing that. Yeah, we're doing that with a drone now. You don't need a guy standing on a mountain.
Right.
But yeah, so like just doing this basic stuff like that, and like the wide, like everyone was pretty much, oh, this is awesome. Like I'm bought in. Cool. I can't do this in my current battalion right now. Like we're working the piece right now. Like we're working that stuff. And we're gonna definitely get there. And I really think within like the next 3 months. But it's something I've been pushing since 2021 at AITB. I was like, hey, there's a system ATAC. It's safe. Like the SEALs and Green Berets and MARSOC's been using it since 2016.
Right.
So but the problem is too with the Marine Corps is we have other systems. So we had it's called the Marine Corps handheld system, it's called MHS. So you guys remember Kill Switch?
Yeah.
You guys ever have to use that stuff out in the field? They were like, here's tablets and here's this Kill Switch thing. It's like a digital map.
No,
I don't think we used it.
Especially being a weapons guy, they never, at least while I was in, a lot of that stuff was just going to platoon commanders.
Yeah. Which really it should, because those are the guys who because we can all talk with a radio internally within a platoon. We're all within, we're not kilometers away from each other,
Yeah.
But anyways, it was an old system. Then we made our own, and we loaded it on all these tablets, and now it's this is a program of record, right? So you can go on, our S shops, our S6, so the comm guys can we're authorized to use this now. We're just really, really behind, but this is what, the Army uses, the Navy uses, everyone but the Marine Corps. But now it's hey, it's a program of record. We're good to use it. So it was kind of invest, but now we're just trying to get the, the equipment in it. And ultimately too, what I was going to get to is I was talking to one of my buddies, his name's Jay. He was a staff sergeant, or he is, with Weapons Company 1-8. And he always likes to call out, just so you know. He really smart guy, really technical dude. But he said it best, where I was we get a lot of pushback because guys are oh, they're not gonna be able to, plot with a map and compass, or do, range estimation, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's well, we're still gonna train them,
Right.
But he was just hey, it's just more expedient, if I said, hey, connect to a satellite, pull out your tablet, tell me where you're at, and I can see it, and you guys saw so good that imagery was. And I have an icon versus, okay, pull out my map, try and find high ground, find 2 known points, do a resection, and have I'm within 300-meter radius of this plot, I'm saying? What's more efficient?
Yeah, 100%.
That is. And you can use it as a standalone, so it's not connected. You can even use it not connected to satellites. You just have situational awareness.
It's the same concept with GPS. I know this is a bigger jump, but going for we all learned the map and compass. You're walking around at night, scared you're not gonna find your it's hard, but we learn it, and then you get a GPS, and it's that pulls the 8-digit grid or whatever you need right away, and
oh yeah, it's
still
the phone part that gets people.
Yeah, as long as everyone still trains to those basics of yeah, what if we don't have satellites? What are we going to do? Then, yeah, you're going to have to go old school. But,
It makes way more sense to use the new school stuff that's
yeah.
way faster, way more accurate if it's
Oh, yeah.
available.
Yeah, and it's just like, and the thing is like you work your way up to it. You know what I'm saying? It's like this is like your green belt or whatever. You know, like
Right.
white belt's your, map, protractor. You do that stuff at SOI and you should sustain it.
Yeah,
Like
like
it's
practice. We would always do at the beginning of the workups, like a basic skills week,
yeah.
kind of hit some of those refreshers, maybe work on it later as well.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we've been doing that since like 1775. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? It's just like you just can't get away from it. Which
Yeah.
ultimately is what's like, kind of happens, So like they'll look at some like, like a lance corporal or even like a corporal and it's like, oh, this guy can't plot or do like basic call for fire. Like, well, I'm going to give him a tablet that does it for him. It's like, but, if he's in a situation where he needs to like expediently, efficiently, just have ESSEC know where he's at or where adjacent people are at, it's like, this is way more efficient. Like, why would you not use it? Especially if it's
Yeah.
safe, like,
Right.
so,
it is crazy how, and it's like, the the long running joke is how like all the infantry guys are just a bunch of dumbasses and everything, but like there's so much that goes into the job, and
oh, yeah.
I like we learned crazy things that I never had even imagined would be part of the job. Like people think,
Like,
oh, Marine, you just run around, run at the beach with a gun, and hope for the best. But it's like there's so much, just math and um, using maps and like once you get into call for fire and CAS, it's like I've been out for a few years now, and if you asked me to do that stuff, like my head would explode. It's
oh, I know,
a
but dude,
lot.
like, I went as a staff sergeant to the Joint Fires Observer course. You know what I'm saying? Like, so JFO, he has, it's
Yeah.
like step below JTEC. I'm there with like lance corporals, like
Yeah.
pretty much junior guys from like recon and like some like, 08s, like observers from like artillery, but like it was good. Like, like I teach it all the time. I taught it at, AITV and stuff. Like finder.
I was a good roommate. I was a good bro move. I just turned over, kind of like I was still sleeping.
Dude, I remember, like, I'm sure you can unbleep this part, but like I would go into Dave's room. Dave's like, so like here's his room, like wall. Dave has his like TV and Xbox and stuff like set up against the wall. There's like the window, then Slubs' side, right?
Yeah.
Dave's like facing the wall playing Xbox or whatever, right? And I see Slubs just like laying naked, face down on his bed, like kicking his legs up and stuff, just like reading a magazine, like not even on his phone. He's like reading like a truck magazine, just like completely naked. Like, and it's like, and you can't just like, I remember those, I've seen those nightmares. I don't know if they like you don't just walk into someone's room, you knock or whatever. So like Slubs would go answer the door and it's like Dexter's Laboratory, what I'm saying? It's just like a naked guy with a whole bunch of hair between his legs, like, and he just like looks at you with the most straight face ever, like, hey, what's up, man? Like you need something, like,
yeah,
like,
yeah, dude. I've been texting with him here and there. We're gonna have him on the show soon because his After the Marine Corps is what I'll definitely listen to that one because I want to know what he's been doing like the last 9-10 years, like he's fucking skinning a deer somewhere butt naked.
I mean, last thing for him too is I remember him walking around the parking lot and he's like, I need a ride to my tattoo appointment. Right? You know what I'm talking about, Dave?
I don't know.
And he so it's like, okay, whatever. And I can't remember who I was with, but we take him to his tattoo and we go to San Clemente. We were in Pendleton at the time, right? And he goes and he's getting an ass tat, right? So the lady's gotta shave his ass. And he's like the most hairy guy ever. I'm like, you cannot pay me enough money to do that. But he gets an Elmer Fudd's tattoo with like a rifle pointing up to his ass crack, right? There's a little bubble that says, come out, Wabbit, I know you're in there.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's fucking fantastic.
I don't know if he would have left. He didn't leave. There's no way he left a tip big enough to justify like that poor lady had to shave his ass.
I bet she didn't even tip. He's like, the cheapest guy.
Yeah.
Because I think he's probably living off the land now, but whatever.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he's going to be listening to this one.
Yeah, good times. He's a good friend.
Yeah, no, we love that guy. When he went to Nick's house once. I
met him.
I forgot why. It was like me and Kevin.
He was roving around. I remember why, because he came down to North Carolina, dude. Like,
did he go there after that?
No, I think it was before. He worked his way up, or maybe it was after. But he was mowing Marcy's grass like when I saw him.
Really?
Yes. Just making a stop on it, like.
Yeah, he stopped by, stayed the night, and left me a deer tenderloin in the freezer. That's all of them.
Man. Yeah, that was fun. It was random. He was just like driving around near Virginia, and I don't know if I saw like a Snapchat or something, but I was like, dude, come to where he lives at near the Charlottesville area, and I was like, come through, like, we just got out of the military, and he just showed up. We had a blast.
Yeah, I had a good time.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Go back into some of that. Those early days with 2.5. Is there anything that stands out that you wanted to touch on, or would you rather go talk about some 3-4 stuff?
Yeah, I'll talk about a little bit of 2.5 because I think it's gonna go up probably towards the end of some stuff like the big changes, like stuff I think needs to improve, still be an end. But to give people, and I try to talk this to people, but I think for me the best unit I've been a part of, and I know I was lowest of, I'm saying we were boots, junior Marines, didn't know a lot, but like I felt like that first deployment, like under Captain Jones, 2-5 group was like the best. It seemed like the best like unit I've been a part of. Like that's like the standard, right? And like the reason why, like looking back, why I think it worked was like when you think about, I think about the 0311s, right? Like each platoon had a sergeant, just one. Like you remember like Sergeant Miranda? He's a master sergeant now, but like you remember him? Like he lived on our deck for a little. Like that guy was like a water walker. Everyone like he ran shit, like smartest guy. But each platoon kind of had their guys, but he had one of those. All the squad leaders were corporals, right? And then the team leaders too were either like that senior lance or like they deployed, with like not even a handful of security force guys. I think we had like 4 or something like that. And then there was us. Then like weapons platoon, right? Like we get put in like team leader billets because we're smaller. Like I always said, like a machine gun squad leader is like an 0311 team leader. In regards to like responsibility, like I truly believe that. Like I was a machine gunner, so like it's just it's manageable. You got like 5 to 7 people max, like it's an important job. But anyways, like we had in weapons, like you remember like Dreyer, like we know him as Corporal Dreyer, right? Like really senior dude. Boker. We had Dominguez. He was the machine gun section leader. The mortars. I can't remember his name. But like it was like senior guys, and they
we had some really good, and we talked about this on the show before too. That some guys can just get so screwed, they hate the Marine Corps after 6 months because they just got like a really shitty team leader or like squad leader doesn't give a fuck about them. But I looking back at 2-5 Fox, like for those years when I got there in 2013, like those guys were solid, and we were lucky with some really good leadership.
Yeah, and I don't think it was just the fact that they all went to like Afghanistan. That's what people keep saying today. They were like, and they're like, yeah, my squad leader, he was salty and Afghan. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really think it was that. I just think we had like a really good like culture. You know what I'm saying? It was like, hey, if you've been to your advanced school, like that meant something. Like that was like a big deal. You know what I'm saying? It was like cool. That was kind of like we trust you now. Now you have to like obviously perform and stuff. But I felt like everything we did, like because I went from ammo man to team leader, like that first workup. Like deployed. Like once we deployed, I became a team leader. So I kind of saw like every side of it. But every time we did everything, I'm like, oh, we're good. Like we're gonna like this is gonna be fine. Like I'm not worried that we're gonna like fuck it up or anything like that. Just like with the group of guys we had, even like platoon leadership, you know what I'm saying? Like you remember like Lieutenant Boeing? Like I look back, like there's not many officers that are lieutenants that have done a deployment and do a second deployment as a platoon commander. They get moved up to XO or they get out or you know what I'm saying? So like even with the lieutenants, it was one more senior group. Obviously, the staff sergeants were different because remember we had Guthrie, like this guy was like 5'3" assaultman, like kind of had a couple screws loose, but
he would just come over, all those beds on the ship are like 4 high or whatever, so we're all just like trapped in there, and he'd always come through and just start like dead legging everybody, and like you're like trapped in this bed, and then you got we got Staff Sergeant Guthrie in there just like kind of beating everyone up, and you can't it's like with the rank structure and stuff, you're just like in a normal situation you could just be like, get the fuck out of here, man, but like in that world it's like you kind of just take it.
Yeah. And like, but it was
he
kind of
abused us or anything. I don't want that to go out there. It was he was just fucking with us, having fun. Like we liked him.
But I mean, and two, it's kind of funny that like 2 of the 4 platoon sergeants like didn't go to IULC and deploy. It wasn't like a requirement, and like it was Moore's what was his name? First platoon's that big bald guy. Can't remember his name, but then I remember 2nd and 3rd platoon, their platoon sergeants, like they went to IU. Like you could see like a difference, like between like and there were different peer groups as well. But anyways, it just worked. And like Captain Jones, like to this day is like that's like my standard for a company commander, you know? And honestly, I don't know if anyone's going to beat it, but I mean, I've never seen anything like it, you know?
Well, I still reflect back on that being in the civilian world now. And like you said, that's your standard for company commander, but I see going to like normal civilian jobs, like I see it, that's my standard for like what a leader should be like. And you see, it's just, things can be so frustrating in the civilian world because people take on, they're like a manager or like some leadership role, and they think that it's now I get all these perks and I have to do less work. But like what the Marine Corps taught us is there might be more perks as you move up through the ranks, but like you're working harder than the private, like these corporals and sergeants are staying up late working on stuff and then tell the guys to like get some rest. And that was something that really came through with Captain Jones, dude. Like when we did all those boat raids, all the amphibious training and stuff, like he was always right there. Like that stuff sucked. I mean, that's why we all have back problems. You're like pulling these 300-pound boats, and like he was always like there's out in the civilian world, you would just have a guy standing there with his arms crossed, like watching us do the work. But no, he was right there lifting engines with me, and he did everything.
He supervises by participating. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what he did.
Yeah, and I felt like he would always kind of go and try to get a measure of the morale, just like we're all like PFCs, weapons platoon guys sitting around having an MRE, and then like he would come talk to us and want to know like what we think or how things are going. And I'm really glad we got those experiences early and saw some really good leaders, because it still helps me today. I'm not even in the Marines anymore.
And I'd say like the guy who probably is like the closest to him was like my current CO. Well, he's the OPSO now. Like he just a little bit different, like a little bit more stoic and stuff. But like the last one I had was, really, really good. But I mean, like here's a good story. I know we might move on from him, but from Captain Jones, where it kind of shows the type of dude he is we were in Oki doing like you shoot from like that fake rooftop thing. It's like a 70-degree angle, like wooden box. And then you go up to like, a fake window, then you move up and it's, whatever.
Yeah.
Like a wall.
Little barricade range.
Yeah. And you're moving forward. And I got up to the wall and it, it's oaky and rained. And there's like, to get the proper cover, you had to like kneel down in a puddle. Right. So like, I was just being a piece of shit, and just kind of like got my distance, offset it a little bit, shot. And like, he was walking behind me, he stops. Right. And he goes, "Hey, like, let me show you." Right. And like, think of this, company commander's on the range supervising. He has his rifle with him. Right. Pulls out his mag, goes condition 1, kneels down in the puddle, gets like onto the wall, you know what I'm saying? Shoots. And he's like, "Yeah, that's how you do it. Like, if you want to give it a try," you know what I'm saying? And then, I kneel down in that puddle and I feel like
totally make you put your tail between your legs. And,
yeah, but it's just like, what I'm saying? He's just like, watch me do it. And like, for guys listening, like he was a recon guy before he came to us. So like so I don't know his whole career and stuff, but like, I remember like he did stuff in Afghan and Iraq, I mean, so like pretty well-trained individual, like perfect guy for the boat company, like doing raids, but solid guy. But for that company, that was just like kind of like the same, and it just worked. You know what I'm saying? Like we had like our echelons, like our team leaders like should have been team leaders. Our squad leaders should have been squad leaders, for all across the platoon. You had, our company gunny, who's like the stereotypical fucking, Gunny Baker, remember him? Like Blackheart Actual. That guy with like Blackheart shoes to Blackheart top, like just completely branded out. But it just kind of worked, you know what I'm saying? It felt really good, to where I think we definitely felt it the second work up in deployment when that leadership change happened, and kind of like us taking the ropes,
Yeah, no. So I want to touch on that for a second, and I'm not going to name any names for this, but like, so we go from this great leader, Captain Jones, like we would have, followed him anywhere. And then the next round of leadership, there was so many issues. Like I remember, and like contradicting things, and with the boat raids specifically, remember at night, it's so cold, like people are getting hypothermia, and so we would rock these like black beanies. We tried to be like all blacked out, like coming in at night and stuff. And there was some issue, I don't know, so people were falling asleep on the Zodiacs, if we were driving for a long time. And leadership was upset about that, and they're saying I think it was like no, or like if people fall asleep, like there's going to be no beanies, or some one of those stupid rules. And then we do a practice raid or whatever on the beach, and we're driving back. It's like 2 a.m, and I was the for those that know boat company stuff, I was the Bravo boat, so I was free to kind of go wherever I wanted. I was like helping out people that were falling behind, things like that. And I remember going by the main boat and going back to Slubs. He was driving the Alpha boat, so I'd always go mess with him a little bit. And but then we pull up, and the CO is sleeping, and so it's just like we like that one thing, getting on everyone's ass about falling asleep, and then you're gonna be the one sleeping,
right?
Like,
what kind of example is that?
Yeah, that's it. All it takes is one little thing like that, and like I'll be honest, like people just they don't want to follow you at that point. We lost faith.
Yeah, that person loses credibility off
Yeah.
that small shit because it's
Yeah. So it's like there's always somebody watching. I need to fucking build my discipline back up. I'm not saying I'm living perfectly every day, but like if you're gonna say all those things and see it as like a punishment, and then like the rules don't apply to you, that's the quickest way for guys to like not want to follow you.
Yeah, but it shows too. It starts from the top because like that guy he's talking about ended up getting relieved. We get a new guy in, and it's kind of like it never happened. You know what I'm saying? Like because it was him and that first sergeant that we had. It was just like we went to Bridgeport. That was horrible. It was just kind of like a bad. And like when I get into 3-4, like I kind of experienced this again, like at the platoon level, where it was really bad. But like it just kind of shows like how important like these, like the CO and like platoon commander and stuff, like, and I definitely see it now, like being a staff sergeant, where it's like it 100% starts at the top. You know what I'm saying? Because I think we had a good group of dudes, like collectively within the company. It was just like, just the tip of the spear was kind of off.
Yeah, the rest will follow.
But yeah, I mean, let's kind of close off 2-5. It's like there were still some of the same things, not like bad things. Like I didn't like the section I was in. Like that's why I hunt out like like ducks and stuff like that. There was like a few like machine gunners, but like I hunt out with Dave, our buddy Marcy. Like that was kind of like our group. And it's just because like it's the same thing. Like dealt with a little bit in 3-4, deal with a lot in 1A. It's just like the machine gun. There's a lot of guys who were just trying to be cool, but didn't give a shit about work. Where like the difference between like I think 5th Marines, 7th Marines, and like now being with 6th Reg, right? 6th Marines is like 7th Marines dudes. Like when you go to the field, there's like a switch. You know what I'm saying? Like think about like the barracks. Like I'd go hang out with you guys and stuff. Like you see the crazy stuff going on in like the 3-7 barracks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then like also like I got to be like one of the evaluators for you guys as McCree's. So like I saw like that switch turn on, and it's like
actually I remember seeing you out there. I was driving by, or I was driving, but I was like the whatever that side seat is, and like those what are they, the AAVs?
Yeah, the tracks. Yeah. I remember that. I see this guy like making faces at me, flicking me off. Like, I know it's someone I know, but yeah. But yeah, dude, it's just like there's a different switch. Like we didn't have that, like at least in the section. Like when we had like when we were all boots and stuff, like with Dominguez and stuff. Like whenever he was around, it's like everyone shaped up. You know what I'm saying? Because he was like our supreme leader. Like it was just like you fall in line. But I mean, a lot of my peers, and like, I don't care if they hear it. It's like they were pieces of shit, you know, and I think they would tell you that. Like, they'll get like now, if you look at them, they're like all about it. You know, they got flax and stuff, shooting a right, you know, but like
Yeah.
there was a lot of guys who didn't even want to shoot their gun because they didn't want to clean it, and it was like pretty frustrating, you know. And like,
Yeah.
I knew I was gonna reenlist, so I was like, you know, like I would say I was motivated, you know, and like I just didn't get along with a lot of those guys, man. It's just because they didn't have the switch. It's just like I don't care what you do outside of work. Like you want to go to your stupid raves and stuff and like wear
Yeah.
your chubbies, that's fine. I don't care, you know. But like like just like dude, we gotta train. And it was just pulling teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah. I, and we all, like, for me and Nick being on the other side of things now, like, it's easy to look back and I think of certain times, like, you know, it's the hindsight 2020 thing. It's like, oh, I should have, you know, I could have been a better leader at this moment, or I should have put more effort into helping this guy. Like, there's always like things that you know you could have done better, but I always think about the guys that just, and I lead with that, saying, you know, so you know that like I didn't do everything perfectly over my 8 years, like, but there's some guys that just completely checked out, like they're
Mm-hmm.
counting down the days, you know, and they're still in boot camp. Like
Yeah,
it's
or 2 years out, you know,
just
and
to
that's
have
what
like
Yeah.
like
such a negative outlook, and I think, you know, they never want to move up. They don't want to be a leader. Like you said, they don't want to. They're hiding because they don't want to shoot their gun at night or think like people that had those experiences. I think probably live with a lot of regret, and because I know
Mm-hmm.
you know, I think I gave a pretty solid effort, and I have regrets of like, you know, but not, you know, we were all, like I said earlier, we're young and we're learning. Like I know you can't do everything perfectly, but you know,
yeah. But I mean, but yeah, 2.5 all in all was a good experience. But I think like moving on to like 3.4, right? So where I think like everyone kind of like comes together here. It's like because me and Dave, like we re-enlisted. So me, Dave, Marcy, re-enlisted all like together. Like we did like the process together, right? And like all initially had orders at 3.7, you know, and
mhm.
then like I think we went to go like pick it up. They're like, or they're telling me like, yeah, you're going to 3.4. Like told me that, and I'm like, what? You know, like
Yeah,
Yeah.
so so
you
like
didn't want to at first, but
no,
it
not at
ended up being
all.
a good thing.
Oh yeah, at the end, but I mean, dude, because it's like so the reason we re-enlisted was because of the OIR, you know, popping off, and it's like cool. Seventh Reg is doing the deployments, and like we did 231st Muse. You know, we're kind of like, I mean, honestly, like I was chasing it. I'm like, I just want to go to like at
Yeah,
least the right part of the world, if anything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, we were chasing deployments.
Um,
We knew 29 Palms was the only ones going to the Middle East, so it's like that's where we were trying to get, and we got it.
Yeah, I mean, they were right away. They were like, "Yeah, we want to go to 29 Palms." They're like, "Cool, I got like a million openings. Like, let's,
Yeah,
yeah, like no big deal." Um,
yeah,
but that part, like, I'll touch on this a lot. Like, I haven't talked too much about, but that actually sucked because it's cause like you know, Dave like went to 3.7. I don't know how long it took, or if you want to like talk about that, like getting kind of like cool with everyone, if it was like immediate or you know like getting like
mm,
accepted in the group because you all like right Nick like you guys already did a deployment together
Yeah.
before he got there, so like I'm pretty sure it
mhm.
was like cohesive, you know, prior to Dave got there, and then like you know
Yeah, and it's like, you know how it goes.
Yeah, I had to come shake things up around there.
Yeah, and it's like, we there's
They
always
were
that
solid.
talk, I think, and it's like at any unit, right? Somebody's coming in, and so like everybody has these conceptions about, someone new coming in and getting into the unit and stuff. But I think with Dave, I think it was pretty fast that, you know, it kind of everything we just kind of all meshed together and, started talking. But I could definitely see like how depending on, the group you're going to, if they're not like about it and they don't give anybody the time of day, that it could turn into a real shitty situation, at least initially, until you get established.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know, it was pretty smooth switching units, but yeah, like, and you know how it is, Love. It's just like people might not say anything, but you're getting sized up. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Oh
they're
yeah,
like,
I do the same thing, dude. It's
yeah,
like
we
to
all
other
do.
people.
Like,
So yeah,
Right.
and especially in my position, uh, being I was a corporal at that time, so it was like they knew I was going to take over. I was going to be in charge of the section. Like, it's not like it was just getting some new guy, general population. It was like, all right, we're getting a new section leader, and I don't know, all the conversations behind closed doors. People are probably trying to, like, what's up with this guy? Like, is he good at his job? Is all the questions that come up, and I don't know. And that was my first time switching units, so it was more so like you take a little time, observe. I'm not just first day like, all right, like I'm in charge. Like, it's kind of, there was a little bit of a blend. There was like another guy who was getting out, who was running the section, so we kind of had a lot of time where it was like both of us together, and I don't know, it was a pretty smooth transition. Like, there was no issues. Nobody tried to fight me or anything, but it's like, it's, I think it's just like, don't try to cause a big scene. Don't try to shake things up too much, but like, just prove that you're good at your job. And like, I don't know. I had a lot of, like, going back to 2-5, like, we had so many good leaders in the assault section. So we had like I was good at anything with explosives. Like, we had so much practice and time on the range, blowing charges, and a lot of assault sections didn't get that time. I mean, they might do like one a year just to check the box, but it was always like, you're not really going to use this stuff. And but no, like, my leaders were really, they pushed it hard, so that was one
yeah,
way. When I came into 3-7, I was able to kind of help out with that stuff, like get the guys more range time doing explosives, because I was just like, yeah, like, my old section leader taught me how to do this, like set up, how do you order, how much C4 are you going to need, and like, I knew how to do those things. So like, I think that that really helped me, like, working with the new lieutenants and the platoon sergeants were like, all right, this guy knows his shit, and um, it went well. But
yeah.
what was it
Mine
like for you? Because 3-4 was so
disbanded, and
yeah,
so it was
just a quick.
disbanded in 14 and stood back up at the end of 15, like literally right when we got there. So
So it's all new.
oh,
Nobody's like
dude.
old 3-4. Like, everyone's new.
So there was guys who so like this is essentially when I got there. There was for like it was this weapons company and H&S. There was like because they stand up the H&S first when they stand up a battalion, because like all the commodities got to come in, all your shops and stuff. So there's probably like 100 people in H&S, and we had like 40 total in weapons. That was it, and that's having 0311s, 31s, 51s, or yeah, 52s, like all the MOSs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so like I showed up and there's another corporal, there's me, and there's a sergeant, and the rest are PFCs. And like one dude from like 8th and I, he was a lance corporal, right? And each, really about every, week to 2 weeks, you get like 50 more to the battalion, 50 more. So like that was like if you want to like talk about like prepping to be a combat instructor, that was kind of it, because we did like
Oh yeah.
1,000, 2,000 level tasks. So just like buddy rushing, rocket battle drill, frag battle drill, like team stuff. Like we didn't have trucks. So I went to weapons company. So we were a CAT, combined anti-armor team. So like we're mounted vehicles. Like we got, the heavy machine guns, the Saber system, stuff like that for people who may not know.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get vehicles for like my first 6 months there. So we're like hiking to the field carrying 50 cows just to set them up,
Oh
display
man,
them. Yeah, like, but
how
I
many
mean,
guys would go down?
no, I mean, but dude, we got conditioned because I went to Summer
Mm-hmm.
Mountain Leaders that year, and I'm telling you, that was the best shape I was in my life for how much we walked to the field and stuff. Which is
Yeah.
up in Bridgeport. It's just like pretty much mountaineering and stuff. But anyways, getting there kind of like too, it was like lonely as hell, like not at all trying to sound like a victim and stuff, but it's like I literally had no friends in that battalion. Like I'd go to work, and it was like me, a whole bunch of PFCs. I got like a platoon sergeant, a new platoon commander, and it was like, so kind of like you just kind of keep everything in, you know what I'm saying? Like there's no like smoking and joking and stuff. And that's pretty much how it was. I mean, majority of the time I was in 3-4. Like I had some buddies and stuff, but like I had one peer, but the rest of the guys who came in were like senior sergeants, like guys who've been in like 3.5, 4 years longer than us. And they're all about to pick up staff. And then everyone was like a boot, and then there was like the security force dudes who came in, and with them like good guys and everything like that, but they were all like trying to go sniper, sniper platoon and stuff like that. But yeah, it was. But here's the cool thing: is because like we were in a line company, right? So like walking around and stuff. I went to Cat. I know nothing about Cat. I actually, God, what was his name? It's a sergeant. He was like a senior sergeant in weapons company, 3-7. I went to ISOC with him. Anyways, I linked up with him. I'm like, yo, can I meet you guys out in the field? And, like, you teach me cat, like just driving around the vehicles and stuff. But anyways, I had no idea what I was doing. But the cool thing was neither did any of the boots. So we all kind of like learned together, So like they didn't know that I knew the machine guns, but I just didn't know like the vehicle aspect. But I mean, it all worked out, but we ended up doing like a first deployment was to Australia doing the Murph D, which kind of sucked, and because like, especially because guys, I was definitely jealous because you guys go into like the OIR, AO.
Yeah, I forgot you did that. So you guys were in Australia for like 6 months.
Yeah, so it's like the unit deployment program. It's like a UDP, and you're just doing that. So like you live in a barracks. It's just like being in, Camp Lejeune or, Pendleton. It's just like you're in Australia now,
Yeah.
So nothing special with that, but I mean, it was good. Like that deployment definitely set us up for the next one because like it's like rare, that you work with the same group, the complete same group. You don't lose anybody for damn near 4 years, So like we were like really cohesive, but I mean, in 3-4-2, so like I don't mind talking about it. Like I messed up, like I got a DUI, so like I got meritoriously promoted to sergeant. They pretty much just like gave it to me. They were like, we need sergeants in 3-4. They're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like, and like it was like a paper board, and obviously got promoted a little bit too soon because like, I mean, I messed up 6 months later, but I went to Bridgeport, did a course there for like 2 months and some change. Came back for 2 weeks. We went to Pendleton that whole time. Then we went back as the unit to like did like the unit Bridgeport package, which is like another month. So like I haven't had any like time to hang out or anything in like quite some time. And went to Pacific Beach, got pulled over, like just messed up, big time. So I ended up getting demoted back to corporal while I was there before the Australian deployment, which was like the most humbling experience I've ever been through. Really sucked, but I mean, it was for the best. I mean, I like looking back at it and stuff, but so like with that, like a whole bunch of new guys, what I'm saying? It's like screw up. Like it was a sergeant, like again, like kind of like ruled with an iron stick a little bit more than I should have. Like looking back, like wasn't very like approachable, like, but like really hard on him because I was like, there's 36 of these dudes and like one of me, It's like I can either be their friend or like almost be a dick, and I went the D route, So
but that's we talk about it all the time how it's you're trying to find your role. Like you see some of these, great leaders, and they all have different. Like some people, it's like they never raise their voice. Somebody just comes out, starts screaming, and then all of a sudden there's 200 guys like trying to get him to stop screaming, like, do whatever he wants. And I could, dude, like what was going on in your head during that time? Like with you said it was a humbling experience, but was it did you go through any low points, like mental health wise? Like, were you?
No, I mean,
How long?
so
Go ahead.
like I will like with that whole situation, I'll say there's like tons of people like I owe like everything to. You know what I'm saying? Because they helped me out so much. So like I couldn't drive, so I couldn't drive for a year, right? So like I'm in 29 Palms. You know,
Yeah.
that's like like that jail in Colorado. You know, that's like essentially what I'm in. So
Yeah,
like I'm not a
you have
big
to
gamer or
try.
anything like that, but damn, I feel like I was like the number one player at Battlefield 1 for like a year. Like because it's just like all I did.
Yeah.
But no, I mean it sucked. Like I was like pretty torn up about it for like a couple days because it's just like embarrassing. Like you think about it, you gotta tell your parents, like they don't really know what the hell we do and shit like that. And like, hey dad, yeah, I'm a corporal now. We got a DUI. There was a lot of stress. I'll say it was stressful because like, dude, you have to like I had to do like alcohol classes, like from the state, do like community service,
Mhm.
still go to the field, still deploy, do all that stuff. I mean, really, I didn't ever complete it all. Like I got it like essentially expunged when I got orders to North Carolina. So I was dealing with it from like November 2016 till like August of 2019. Like I was always like, how that, like I can't stay on top of this, like I
Yeah.
can't go to these classes.
Yeah.
I can't do this community service. And then it's when you have guys like you were a corporal before they joined the Marine Corps, or a sergeant, and now you're
Mhm.
corporals together. But you're still in charge
Yeah.
of them
They start to
and they
catch
have
up.
to respect you. So like what it did for me is like I think I found like that medium, you know what I'm saying, where it's like you find yourself, it's like, okay, I'm not gonna be a dick anymore, you know? Like,
Mhm.
and also like I can't when someone messes up, it can't be the end of the world, Like,
Right.
hey, guy left his rifle on his pack. Well, hey, Corporal, you used to be a sergeant, but you drove drunk. You could have killed someone,
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. However, you still like you don't let stuff go. It's like you kind of
Mhm.
get like you understand the situation, you know what I'm saying? Or it's like, hey, this happened once. And that's what it was. It was a one time mistake. I'm not
Mhm.
gonna end your life over it. Um, so there was that. Also like I didn't know if I was gonna be able to stay in. So like I definitely I drank the Kool-Aid in regards to like not like necessarily like how I like dressed or but it's like, hey, you gotta do a lot of PME stuff. You need to try to go to courses. I need to I need to be really, really even better at my job, to
Yeah.
have credibility because at this point, like I don't have combat. I'm not a sergeant anymore, and I'm a dude who got in trouble, So like
Yeah.
if I'm not good at my job, then like how are these like seniors like the really guys I cared about were like a handful of like these senior sergeants, who were later on in zone for staff that year. And I was like, as long as they like let me stay in this group, like I'll be fine.
Right.
But I ever went through like a low point, like I still like dude, I still drank and stuff like in the barracks. Like I wasn't like not allowed to drink, but it was definitely lonely, dude. But I
Mhm.
just kind of got over it. It was just like is what it is, and moved on. And then I had a deployment in there too. So like I had like 6 months before I deployed for 6 months, came back, I could drive again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of.
So
Yeah, because we kind of what do you say, like leapfrogged, like we didn't see each other hardly any, even though we were in 29 Palms, because it'd be
no.
like you deployed and then I deployed, or vice. We were always kind of like alternating who was there.
Well, yeah, and
Um,
it sucked because like you, like specifically you, Marcy, and Kevin were like my best friends. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you guys would deploy for 6 months, I would deploy for 6 months, and then it's like cool, but you guys are in like big time into your workup. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And
go
two,
to the
like you guys
field
had like your
school.
friends in like 3-7 and everything. I just never had like how like you and Nick like clicked and stuff like that. Like there was never really anyone in like 3-4 that was like that I like connected with like that. Just because like
Yeah,
the peer group differences and stuff.
Yeah.
yeah. No, I definitely get that. Um, and it gets lonelier the higher you go. Like 2.5 and 3.7. It was still kind of a lot of guys same time in service, same experiences, so you can make some really great friends. But then as it goes higher, I know when I went over to 2.8, that I'm a sergeant, with however many years and like you look around and it's like, oh, there's nobody else. I mean, a couple other sergeants and things like that, but like and then I imagine now you're a staff sergeant, like how many, there's only like 3 other staff sergeants, and if those guys aren't cool, it's like, what do you do? But yeah, man. So that makes sense though. When you zoom out, it's like, all right, we just stood up this new unit. Let's send them to Australia, get some reps, but then you guys stayed together. So then after you come back from Australia and you guys start gearing up for the Middle East deployment.
Yeah. So there we had some like leadership change. So like that Australia deployment, it was kind of similar to 2.5, like really good, top down, then, regime change. And I think I'll say this for another time, but long story short is do the workup. I got this. You guys knew him. I don't want to say his name, but I'll text it to you or something after. But he broke his leg fast roping. You know what I'm talking about? Or if you can bump it out, let's tell you.
We could bleep it.
Yeah, here, 1 second. I remember that name.
He broke his leg at like Fast Rope Masters or something. He was a Pogue, and then Mesept.
Oh, yeah. So
I'm pretty sure he was in India.
He was with us, broke his leg, and then went to you?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I think I kind of remember that.
The guy was the worst, man. I'm telling you, like, I could talk for days about him, you know what I'm saying? But like,
oh, dude, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, dude, like would like read his book at nighttime with MVGs down. You know what I'm saying? Like that type of guy. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I remember.
But yeah, just tons. Like I could talk forever. But anyways, he ends up getting relieved. But the workup was almost kind of a wash because I go advon, right? So I'm just gonna kind of skip to the deployment. I go advon because my platoon commander gets relieved. They send me, which was cool. So get to Syria. And so we fly in, go to Kuwait, see you for a little bit, stop in Iraq, and then we go, it's called Shadadi. It was like kind of up north. We were in AOBE. So it's kind of like pretty much like general is like northeast portion of Syria, kind of near the Iraqi border, right? It's like the last little pocket of ISIS. So I get there, we're in Shadadi. It's kind of like the main base. And they're like, okay, we have like 7 different sites. There's these teams. We're going to like disperse the company. We're deploying as weapons company, which is kind of rare. Usually like a section or a platoon will get attached to a company and stuff like that. We all deploy together because the main effort was really shooting mortars, right? So I get there, but it was kind of cool because I'm like, fuck yeah. I get to kind of like have a say where I go, you know what I'm saying? And like who I want to like do the whole manning, So anyways, get there, and long story short, I go to this place that's called Mission Support Site Munson. So MSS Munson. It's like the desert access, right? It's really, really shitty. I don't know. Can you put stuff up on your phone on there, Dave? If not, like I can, I don't know how to share stuff like or show it on the screen.
Are you on a Mac or a
Mac?
And you have an iPhone?
I have an iPhone.
Yeah, if you just airdrop it to your Mac, and then this button down here where I'm screen sharing, when I take mine off, you can click it if you have something you want to pull up. How's this going to look through
Yeah, you'll hit that share button, and then you'll have to open it up on the Mac, and then you'll hit screen, and then wherever you have it pulled up, it'll be one of the tabs.
I can't figure that out.
Make sure
it's not important. It's just like it was a big
questionable tabs.
Yeah. No.
Wrong one.
Clear all. But it's like it was like a big triangle. It was like a mound. But this is like a funny story. Is they're like cool, like that's where I'm gonna go. The reason I wanted to go is there was like a team there, like an ODA team and the special operations surgical team. So they were like getting dudes who were like messed up from going to the FLOT, like the forward line of troops, like where all the fighting was happening. So I was like, if I don't get any, at least I get to see some like messed up bodies, learn some like actual, aid and stuff like that. Like, it's kind of cool experience. So I pick my guys, but I'm still by myself, right? So I go, they're like, cool, we're going to fly you to this place called Green Village. And that was like kind of like what ended up being like the main base, right? Mm-hmm. So go there, and then I'm like, cool, it's just me. I'm like by myself. I didn't go there with anyone. I'm like the only Marine on this fucking flight. So I go into like their essentially equivalent of the COC, like the command center, right? And I'm like, hey, I'm at the time like I'm Sergeant Love, and I need to go to MSS Munson. And they're like, oh, well, we're going there in like 3 days. I'm like, okay. So like, what do I do? And they're like, oh, like there's like rooms, I can stay upstairs, and it's just like an empty room. You know what I'm saying? I'm like asking people for cots and stuff. But I was like figuring it out on my own. So I go there, then I go to this place called Hodgen. I don't go to Munson. I go to this other place, right? And same thing, stay there for a little bit, wait a couple of days. So I pretty much just have to like gypsy my way to the place I need to be, and really there it was like your guys' like, just being honest, was like your C team of like fucking guys. There was like that big blonde haired staff sergeant, you know what I'm talking about? I can't remember his name. God.
Oh, I don't know. So were this was Weapons Company 3-7?
No, I mean, there were some 11s there too, but yeah, like weapons mixed with some, because they were like how Moore did it. They would like rotate out for like, a little bit. But anyways, it's just like, dude, it's
I don't know
different.
If I knew anybody that was, I don't know if I
like,
I knew anybody.
Like those guys had like zero like kind of do whatever you want. And I'm kind of like, shit, did I make the wrong decision? So I'm asking them like, are you guys going to the FLOT and stuff? And like, I got to do a couple stuff like en route there, which was kind of cool. But anyways, we get there, I sign over all the gear, and the guys come, and just kind of like fast forward. What happens is within like 2 weeks of everyone getting there, so like all the guys leaving from 3-7, they're like, this place sucks. Like there's no showers. It's just tents, right? They built the place. I think they like closed their eyes, put their finger on the ground, and were like, we need an ammo resupply point somewhere, And hey, let's just put some doctors there as well. Fuck it. So like the guys come.
Pretty scrappy setup.
Yeah, and we're skeleton crew, right? But 3-4 guys come. There's like the team guys there, and what ends up happening is this big sandstorm happens, right? And essentially, one of the sites, they got like a V-bid come, shoot a jav. Another truck got blown up, got hit by an ATGM, and then our site got attacked. Like I say, like this, like it was like one good one, but like stuff happened 2 other times, just before it, right? All during the sandstorm, so like everything got lost, right? We ended up like we retrograded. That's what they called it. But essentially what we did was shut everything down and moved back north, right? Because what we were doing was we would come to the north, go all the way south to the Iraqi border, and do the clear from south to north while they were clearing from north to south, and kind of like meet in the middle. Tactically doesn't make any sense whatsoever, right? But that's what the Syrians, I guess, wanted. So after this happened, like these sandstorm and stuff happened, then it kind of like they had common sense, right? They went from north to south. I'm gonna pull up my phone, see if you guys can see this. So the V-bid that they shot the jav at, right, looked like this. They called it like a Mad Max vehicle.
Oh yeah. Shit!
Yeah, this is another one we found later on.
That's not the one they hit with the javelin.
No. But yeah, it's like a side profile. No, the one I hit the jav blew up. It was full of like HME, but yeah, it's just like a Toyota Hilux that they just like gutted. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's pretty sick video and stuff. But ultimately, it was like gotten like a little bit of a firefight, but mostly just shooting mortars and stuff like that. But then we had a retrograde. We went back north. So like my group.
This was during a sandstorm rolls in, and
yeah.
Talk about, you said like it wasn't, you said it wasn't that intense of an attack, or like it was
well, it was tons of firing, right? But you can't see anything. Like there wasn't like here's a picture kind of what it looked like.
Oh shit.
You see how it's like and it's like, dude, you had to like find the berm and work your way up. So like what happened was I'll talk about the main one. It was daylight savings day. So we kind of did like a sergeant of the guard, corporal of the guard thing, right? Whenever we were like inside the wire. And the guy it was a corporal. He was the guy who was in my section, right? And I'm like, oh, it's daylight savings. You got another hour. Fuck you. Kind of lay back down, right?
Yeah.
Dude, as I lay back down, I hear it's just like, you hear like the cracking or whatever. And like sometimes there's like battle positions in front. So sometimes something happens. It wasn't like too outside the baseline. And then it just starts rolling, right? So it's like we call Alamo, go. And it's just like rounds are hitting like back of the post. Rounds are hitting like in the there was like kind of like a storage lot almost outside of the berms and stuff. Like so you're seeing like the impacts, you're really hearing it, like some of them hitting the berms, but like there's no way these guys could. I'm sure they saw us before, but they don't see us now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. They were shooting from like, you couldn't see where the fire was coming from.
No, you just know, like you knew it was coming from like this direction, you know, orientation wise and based off of what happened previously. Because previously you could see like they shot like an ADA, air defense weapon. Like try to use it like direct fire and it just exploded in the air. We saw mortars hit. It's like we know it's generally coming from this direction, right? Towards where the forward line of troops were. But they just so with the sandstorm means no ISR, which is the intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance. It's like that big drone, right? That's like that's why we win everywhere we go. You know what I'm saying?
The eyes in the sky.
Yeah, that's gone. So they're like, cool, let's go. And pretty much attack the battle positions. The partner force retreats behind us, right? And
who are these guys? This Syrian
Defense Force guys, SDF. And it's like, so like looking back, at the time we're like, these guys suck, whatever. But like they're out there, no shoes, a chest rig, like a shitty AK with like a magazine. You know what I'm saying? Like they're set up like they're literally there so that way we will be behind them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think they were expecting to do anything in the first place. But, I mean, dude, we, like the 240 initially, the fire jams because there's so much sand on the face of the bolt, the firing pin wouldn't protrude. So, and a sandstorm under, like, my gunner is, taking off the buttstock, pointing on the trigger, taking out the bolt, just dump CLP all over it, put it back in, you know what I'm saying? Like, just to get the gun up. But at the same time, like there wasn't like, to me, I felt like, okay, as long as I'm behind a berm, I'm good. And we just have to wait for them to hit the wire and then we'll shoot them. You know what I'm saying? Like we're gonna be fine. Yeah. But it was still like the initial, like, I think running from the tent, because if you're in the center of the support site, you probably can get hit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then what we ended up doing was just shooting 120s from inside the wire, just at all of the battle positions in front of us. And once it cleared up, they sent one vehicle out. It got shot up, came right back, and then they were like, "Okay, we're gonna retrograde. We're getting the hell out of here. Like this is like doesn't make sense. If we can't have like a site in the middle of the desert,
Right.
Yeah, like what was there any strategic ground or anything?
Yeah, so they would leave
that position there.
They would leave Green Village from the north, essentially, go to a mission support site, right? So like you get ammo, you can get MREs, stuff that you don't want to drive with for 4 hours. So really the big thing was loading up 120s. There's tons of 120 ammo there. So really it was more of an ammo resupply point, to be honest.
Yeah.
But then they brought in 2 triple Hallisters right before we left because they were like, okay, we can put Artie here. We already got like a team in Marines that are always going to be here at some point for like security force measures, right?
Mhm.
But anyways, but just like it wasn't protected enough. It was too new, you know what I'm saying? And then after that happened, I think they were like, hey, we'll just go from north to south. Like that just makes more sense, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we ended up just destroying everything, just burnt all the stuff, packed up, left. Like it never happened.
Huh.
Damn.
And I was there for about like 2 months. So it was like, you know, 2 months of like water bottle showers and stuff like that. But it
Yeah.
was like, it was a good experience. I definitely learned a lot like from that. I mean, like just like the nuances, like, and then with the SOAST, the Special Operations Circle Team, guys would come in from the FLOT all messed up, dude. Like
Yeah.
from IEDs, gunshot wounds, or like they would try and bring like that's the first like dead body I saw was them bringing him in. It's like, oh, he's done.
Yeah.
But it was definitely a good kind of way to like lean into like everything we were going to be doing. But that was for me the only like real kinetic piece was like the first month and a half. After that, it was like, just mortars or 120s or artillery and not much going on.
Yeah.
I mean, still getting to do cool shit, just like you're not shooting your fucking rifle,
Yeah.
Yeah. Did anything come from that exchange? Like your guy on the 240, or
No, I just because you can't see, dude. Like you
Yeah,
couldn't see anything. So like, no, I
just
mean it was
shooting in the general direction.
no, and like honestly, it was like good that we like majority like I think held our fire because we're in a sandstorm. If
Yeah.
Right.
everyone's ripping, then it's like okay, there they are. Like we know where they're at, kind of general direction, just based off of them shooting. Now, if
Mhm.
we have, you know, 3 of the 450 cals ripping and all this stuff, just shooting literally the air, So
Mhm.
like I think it was kind of a smart decision on everyone's point was like, hey, I don't see anything.
Yeah.
Um like
Don't
for the
waste. Yeah.
majority, like I think yeah, it was like very limited firing after the initial contact because it was kind of like, hey, just wait. You know what I'm saying? Literally just aim at the
Yeah.
wire. Once they get to the wire, shoot. But
Yeah. And those sandstorms are no joke. Like,
Yeah. We
I
were hit with a couple of them.
yeah, there's one like we had one in Iraq, and it's like you said, you can't even see the berms in front of you. Like you can't.
You can't
It
see
could
a
be a
fucking
guy.
thing.
Yeah, like it's
You're getting
it's
pelted with that fucking sand.
it's a pretty
Shit comes
scary
in
moment
fast.
because
oh yeah, dude.
it's like
And it's
anybody, someone could just run up right now and like you know punch me in the nuts, and I wouldn't even see him coming. Like there's just so much sand.
I was trying to
yeah,
find a way to Dave just to do just that. Fucking take off. He'd never know.
Yeah, I'd go as soon as the sandstorm rolled in. I'd go steal Black Kevin cigarettes. Tell him the storm took them.
yeah, man. But I mean, after that, it wasn't much. But I mean, we went out. We did like a couple like PAAs, so it's like position for artillery, like an already firing position and stuff, and then
Yeah,
kind of ended up with just doing Sec 4 and Green Village, where that was actually the cool piece. Where like it's kind of the last thing I'll talk about with this whole thing was after like we went out like twice for like again like 2.5 months, kind of similar experience. Like we're out, it's like, hey, you're going to this building. We're bringing mortars and artillery, and you watch the war just leave you. You know what I'm saying? Like you're really pumped
Mhm.
initially. You're like,
Yeah.
yes, we're the closest, and then it's like, oh, see ya, you're 2 months away now. You know what I'm saying? And we were just stuck there. It sucked.
Yeah.
But kind of is what it is. Like, and we were just in a building. See if I can find. We were just in a building for literally 2.5 months, and just a couple guys on a roof and two triple howitzers on each side of us. But once that was done, I went to go be the SOG for Green Village, and that was cool because like when I think about like the opportunity to be like a leader, because you got to think like with the teams and stuff, it's like you have a team sergeant. He's like equivalent to like our, he's a master sergeant, so he's an
Mhm.
EA. Then you have like sergeant first classes, what I'm saying, they're like our gunnies, E7s. And then
Mhm.
like Marine Corps staff sergeant, Marine Corps lieutenant, whatever. When I got to Green Village, the 0311s who were there from 3-4 left. So it's just weapons guys. So they were like pretty much like my responsibility, which was kind of cool. You know what I'm saying? So like
Yeah.
we got there, and when we got there, it was like not much had been done. You know what I'm saying? Like I figured there'd be more work done in the last 6 months than what was, but it didn't really happen. So here's the place we were at for like 2 months.
Oh shit!
It's called Firebase Reba. Just there, and that rooftop was like the dudes like went up these stairs, right? Like
Well,
this
yeah.
rooftop was empty, and we ended up getting it
And you guys
like
would sleep
just
up there?
sandbagged up. Dude, that was like 3 deep. It sucked. But yeah, and this for like the people listening, it's just like a big like flat roof, and we had to build up sandbags and stuff like that. And the rooms were just like concrete open rooms, just I guess what you would expect from like the Middle East, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But back to Green Village, it was cool because like NCOs were doing NCO shit, you know what I'm saying? So it's like we went there and we're like, oh, there's no like protective wire, where it's like, okay, outside of hand grenade distance from the post, we should probably put that up, you know what I'm saying? And this was just like the group that I was with, not just like me, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking like a collective group, and it's like, hey, Sergeant Love, why don't we put claymores there too? Because that would make sense. If someone, because they can literally just walk up to this at this point, like, yeah, that's cool. We got tons of them. You just go grab them. You don't fucking tell anybody. It's Army stuff. You know what I'm saying? So like, cool, do that. Guys make the range cars. We look at the back of the post. There's no sandbags on the back of the post. So it's like, if we get attacked from the south, you're good. From the north, you're fucked, man. Like, not only you look in the wrong direction, but you're gonna get shot in the back. So like we did stuff like that. Kind of like improved, like a lot of improvements, and I think it went noticed, across the board. You know what I'm saying? Of some across the groups, and like I had some solid dudes. Like this one guy, let's say his name, Corporal Whitman. He was I told you he was the guy like in charge of the Sec 4 at Munson, the desert place when the sandstorm happened.
Mm-hmm.
He ran with this ODA guy. Like, so there was like a 200-meter field, no like real berm, right? And I told you there was the Army artillery came, and there was one little post that was built. And like these cats are there with their 240s and like not prepared whatsoever. They won't get on the comms, can't get a hold of him. He just runs. He runs straight to the post, right? Like pretty brave shit, you know what I'm saying? Because he's like outside of the berms and stuff, but runs straight to the post, gets to the gun, and he's like, "Oh, these are fucked. Just leave the guns here. Come with me. Like we don't got time." And brings him back in. It's like really solid dude.
Yeah.
Another dude built an LZ. Like they dropped off all this gravel. A Lance Corporal from his name was Lance Corporal Sergeant, right? They dropped like dump trucks of fucking gravel come, right? And there was this Chinese front end loader, and this dude from Texas just makes an LZ, and they land like a no shit helicopter on it, and they're like, okay, cool, we can land helicopters here now, So like tons of talent, man.
Those are things I like hearing. What's it? That guy, some 19-year-old dude from Texas he's like, yeah, I could drive that thing, and
So and the dude's a driver. Like he has no aspirations to be anything more than that. You know what I'm saying? But he does his job. Drives the shit out of the vehicle, stays awake, and can do like those ancillary things. You know what I'm saying? Like the hardest working guy we had was the RO. So it was a really good group. That we had. And it carried over for like the last couple months, and then we turned over with 1-7, and then just busted out to, East Coast, link up with you and Marcy. And more.
Yeah. It's crazy how we had our little group hop around. Even though we weren't always in the same unit and stuff, it's like we're in the same area.
Yeah.
But dude, what's so how many years are you at right now?
So I'm like closer to I'm past 12 and a half, so like 12 and
I see like 13.
Yeah.
So you going? I'm assuming. I mean, especially now that you got the new family started and things. You're going all the way. You're gonna.
Yeah, I mean, I almost thought about getting out. I re-enlisted like a year ago, but like, dude, I've been like, it's hard to like do something else. And it's not just like it's like a trap, you know what I'm saying? Like there's still like a lot of stuff I like doing, you know, and like
Yeah.
I mean, I like the conventional Marine Corps, you know what I'm saying? Like I
Mm.
don't have like I'm not trying to do anything, you know, crazy, but there's still like a lot, you know, I want to do. And like I like it. Like all in all, like I like it. You know, you go to bad places and stuff like that, but yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna do a second past 20 years. Like I'll put my hand on the Bible and swear it right now. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I'm not gonna get out, you know, not just because I'm too close. It's just like it's not like
You
it's what
like
I
it.
want to do, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, some people had such a negative outlook, and then they look back. I mean, I'll tell you firsthand, like I miss it all the time. Like,
Yeah.
because especially you look back at all the good memories and everything. Like, yeah, you know, I don't want to wake up at 3 a.m. and then jump in a 7-ton and sit in the 7-ton for 5 hours and get covered in dust. Like, all, you know, all the shitty things. It's like, but that environment, like, and then coming to the civilian world, you know, there's a lot of, you know, I'm very happy with where my life is at right now, but there's certain, you know, doing school and different jobs and things like that. There's sometimes you're just like, man, I wish I was on the fucking range with all the guys, and you know,
Yeah.
There's nothing in the world like what you do in the Marine Corps, and that's I think too. Like I miss that aspect of it. Like there's nothing even I think that compares to the day in and day out different shit you could experience, and like the people you meet and all the things you do. And like I said, I'm happy with what I'm doing now too. You know, I'm pretty set up, pretty happy, but it's like one of those things. You know, the military I think is what you make it, and I think a lot of people get to a stage where they think the grass is always greener on the other side, and it's not. And a lot of the times, for a lot of people, it's not. Like
yeah,
you
you just make the
can't do
best
the
of it.
shit that you get to do in the military and build those memories. And you know, like I'm past the point where I would go back in, and it's like there's a part of me that wishes like I would have done a little bit more time just to get more of those experiences, more of those memories and pictures and all that shit, you know, that it's like once it's done, it's done. You know, you're gonna pick a career path or start doing school or whatever the fuck. And then you kind of fall into that cycle of now this is what I'm doing.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I would say like, you know what the biggest difference I think for like why I wanted to get out, which is probably a little bit different than like I'm not gonna assume anything for you guys, but I know a lot of people that are like, you know, they're done with the chain of command stuff and being told what to do. It's kind of like the higher up thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like I want my freedom. You know, that's kind of like the general like consensus. Like, hey, I do my time, cool,
Mhm.
done. Now I'm kind of free to do what I want. And that's kind of like, you know, like that secret fountain water, you know, it's like that
Mm-hmm.
freedom. I can, you know, if I want to do drugs, I can do drugs. If I can, I don't have to wake
Yeah.
up at 5 to PT, whatever, you know. I would say the difference, like why I almost wanted to get out wasn't because of like that whatsoever. It was like the junior guys. So like I always thought like I would get out and I'd have like a bad taste in my mouth because of like a company commander, a battalion commander, or like the system, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like for me, it's the junior like Marines, right? That make it, you know, not as pleasant sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Because like it's just like the sergeants are just way different. And what I mean by that, it's like it's not just like a buddy buddy thing. I'm like, I don't care. If you want to be friends with like your team leaders or your guys in your squad, I really don't care. Like I'm not that guy, you know, I'm saying say who you can and cannot be friends with, you know. I really don't
Mhm.
even have an opinion on it. I don't care. But like the training piece, dude, it's like getting stuff done. I'm like, hey, make sure this is done. Well, how do I use a computer? How do I do that? I'm like, dude, just okay, come here. And then what you end up doing is you do everything. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So like people ask her like, well, why is the squad leaders team leaders? And this isn't for like every case, but it's like, dude, their training they make is not that good, right? They want to make SOPs and stuff like standard operating procedures for the battalion, but they gaff it off. They don't even, you know, they won't do it or put zero effort into it. A lot of it's just like a whole bunch of talk, talk, talk. You know, people love to talk.
And
You know,
this is the like current
yeah, the current,
sergeant.
you know what I'm saying? And what no one wants to do is the reps, you know what I'm saying? Like, where, like, think of you guys, like, how many, you know, how many breach drills do you guys do? Probably more than you will ever be able to count for the rest of your life. You know what I'm saying? Of just that movement to the breach site. You know what I'm saying? The whole social process.
Yeah.
Your rocket battle drills. That was just like, that's a Tuesday.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I think that was a significant difference. Like Camp Pendleton, you could train anywhere. 29 Palms, you could train anywhere. And then like going to Camp Lejeune, it was like we had like a little grass patch in front of the barracks, and it was just like like you're talking about doing those breaching drills. Like in 29 Palms, me and Nick and the other guys, like we would take our whole section like behind those hills that were over by Cardiac and stuff. Like we could just get away from it all, find some old concertina wire that had probably been laying there for 50 years, and we would set it up and like practice. Guys' faces are down in the sand throwing the grappling hook, and it's like we did get a lot of good reps. And
yeah, they had that old little paintball course up there too. You could use a little town.
You could practice room clearing. There's just like structures and things. It's just like you didn't have to go to a range to do it.
I mean, there's space, and like here's like my thing. I'm like, figure it out. You know what I'm saying? So like,
and we still did these things in Camp Lejeune. I'm just saying, like,
yeah, it's not as good, 100%. But like after being here for a while, like here's an example. Like when we were at for AITB, right, for the advanced machine gun course, we would teach the offense class in the morning, and then we would go to this LZ, which is like, are you going to get in Lejeune's an open field? You know what I'm saying? If you're at the barracks, like find it, get there. You know what I'm saying? Cool. And what we would do is like, we made like bunkers out of wood and like plastic, put Ivans in it, put like camis on the Ivans, had like a maneuver element, all this others, like we showed them kind of like, okay, here's this one piece of terrain that's going to work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so we pretty much, it was like a good 3-hour training evolution, and it was like a little round robin. And it's like, dude, you can make a week out of this. Like, we don't even have enough time, Yeah. So and the whole point behind it was like training, backyard training Lejeune, or like, hey, if you have something coming up, just like walk the scheme of maneuver. It may not time and space wise, right? Might not be the same, but like, hey, like go through the motions at least, Or here's the other thing. I'll say, like, what's like always the go-to thing when he goes to train? Like if all else fails, you have your rifle, where are you going to train? Just have your rifle and your kit.
Go to the base? Are you talking about going to the base?
No, just like if you need to be static, or body rushing or speed reloads, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Like, how many speed reloads have we done? Same question. But
like
I have a whole like.
That's like when you maybe you're waiting in a parking lot somewhere or something, and you like you can always go to like some reload drills
or CLS.
Yeah, that's like great. That. But dude, there's like like something else. Like I've been trying to talk to people. I didn't get this opinion on my own. It's like. Whether it's from like social media or people I really respect, but it's like, or people who've actually been there, right? But it's like, hey, if you're going down an alleyway, right? Or whatever, you're in a building, you go dry. What's faster? You doing your speed reload with your kit and all that stuff, especially as a Marine, or you get out of the way and the 2-man shoots.
Get out of the way.
Get the fuck out of the way. Yeah. Right? And then, like, here's another thing. Like, what's going to be faster? Just think of your own. Like, if you go dry, what's faster? Drop rifle, pull out pistol, shoot, or speed reload? I would say for most people, like 80%, it's you pull out your pistol. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And at least that's what, like, DJ Shipley does, and that guy seems pretty badass. So what I'm getting at is...
With the line... I was just going to say, like, we never... Like, we didn't... But especially just being line company guys and everything, like, some of the machine gunners might get a pistol and they throw it in their pack or something. It's like, I do see that as that was a huge missing piece. At least I thought,
we're still not using them. I mean, hardly ever.
The training was never there. It's like, once you're going to stand, those high, like off OD and AOD, you gotta be
duty. Yeah,
you get a pistol qual so you could stand duty, but like, I don't know.
Well, even as a saltman, you think it'd be standard issue to get a pistol? We
Yeah,
got that
because
fucking rocket to manage, and you
that
know,
was hard,
yeah, it'd be easier to secondary to a pistol than to a rifle.
especially with the M16s.
Right.
When I was a rocket gunner, dude, it's like hard. You got all these straps on you. You're trying to
Yeah.
pull out a rocket real quick, and then the M16 is just dips right into the mud or something like.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
when you just take it off and you put it next to you and like pray to God you don't forget it. Like when you go back to cover,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
but like what I'm getting at is like so like the guys is like the go to is you'll go if you go around the machine, you see speed reloads all the time, but we're like there's so many under fundamentals that the Marine Corps is teaching now. It's called the Advanced Marksmanship Training Program, AMTP. I think it's really good. Like
Mhm.
it's a solid shooting practice. Like you remember that Murph guy, like the Marine Reaction Force, or like the trailer platoon guys who go to recon.
Yeah,
Like they
it's
would do that shooting package.
the Maritime Readiness Force. That's what Kevin was
Yeah,
talking about.
it's like very similar to the shooting package that they did. You know what I'm saying? So it's a really good package. And everything. So, but it talks about, stance, your weight, how you're leaning, trigger pull. There's so many stuff to where it's like, where it's all dry fire. Like, it's like, not all, but it's like damn near 60% dry fire where I'm like, I
Mhm,
told my guys, I'm like, I'd rather you spend 80% of the time doing dry fire, right?
mhm.
Than doing 80% of speed reload drills that you're going to do. There's maybe a 1% chance this is going to work.
Right.
Yeah,
You
Right.
know, to where if you just shoot the guy because your fundamentals, because like, hey, you're moving or whatever, you're in mount or you're leaning. It's like, hey, maybe your eye relief's not the same, but you got good stance, your weight's proper, all this stuff, all these fundamentals are good because you have one variable. You hit what you shot at.
Right.
Now you're
yeah,
safer, I'm safer, we're a better group because you shot better. But
yeah.
what we do is a speed reload and we pull a trigger, we're probably not even aimed on the target.
Right.
Right.
So
It's
that's just
all
like an
about, yeah.
example of
Yeah.
what I'm seeing where I'm like,
That's a good point because,
Yeah.
yeah, and it would always become, it's a competition, people wanted to
yeah,
reload. It's
because it's
like,
fun.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
see
not
what
even
you're saying.
focused on the marksmanship aspect. It's just
Yeah,
who could get the mag in the fastest, and you're not even
yeah,
practicing anything else at that point.
and yeah, and then you're practicing the wrong things because it's like, oh, I got my mag in and slammed the bolt down quicker than the other guy, but
Yeah.
like, you didn't even acquire a sight picture afterwards or anything. Like,
Right.
Yeah. And it's like with that too, it's like I think too, like we're using like TDGs, that tactical decision games and stuff,
yeah,
as a crutch, as a crutch to not go outside. Like I think they're good. They serve their place. They're really good. Like especially when it's like well organized, you got like or you do like a decision force case, you put like a PowerPoint, you kind of get in the scenario. All that stuff's great,
hmm
but like
a
I
lot of
feel like now there's
things you
too
could do
much
on
of that
ship.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
You-
that's again, but you're on a ship, right?
Yeah,
That makes sense. But now,
exactly.
like,
Like time and place. But if
yeah,
you
it's like
got,
they need reps. You need to do it over and over and over again. Not like, hey, do it once, let's talk for 10 minutes, and then train for 2 minutes, talk for 10. That's like what I'm
Right.
seeing. And that's probably the most frustrating. And it's showing, and it's kind of like, it's like they do this, like, cool, I'm part of this NCO council and stuff, and I say everything that's fucked up. But you're not doing your piece. Like all I need you to really do, if you have your guys in your training, like doing actual stuff for, 2 hours in the morning, hour and a half, 2 hours in the afternoon on a normal work week, like that's a huge win, and you probably prepared and all that other stuff. And PT, like dude, like my platoon was there was very few people doing a formation at 6:30 in the morning. You know what I'm saying? To PT. And it's just like, dude, you can't just go to the gym every morning. You
Right.
gotta put on your flak. You gotta do your stuff. It's just that's a lot of
yeah,
stuff I'm not seeing.
yeah. No, that's
So
the gym, and, there'd be. I remember there being like little times here and there, like maybe we just got back from like a 2 week field op, and it's just like, all right, we're gonna go like just get some deadlifts in and like do something a little different because the guys are already broken off from the field.
yeah,
But for the most part, it's like the gym was seen as like that's something you do on your personal time.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, wake up earlier or stay up later, man. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? Like
we were
that's
going. Me and me and Slubs and Sekiger, I remember we'd be going. when we were younger, we'd go out in town in San Clemente and go to
the 24-hour
you guys
fitness.
would go there too. Like
Yeah.
I think you and Ducks, we'd see you there, and like we'd be going to the gym at like 7 o'clock at night, like because PT was PT was PT, you know, like we were running up mountains and stuff and
Yeah.
stretchers and
Should be endurance based and like you said with your kid.
Yeah, or it's like even if you're doing like a mobility stuff, like there's so much stuff we're learning like with the recovery and stuff, and like a good way, like for myself, like I do CrossFit, I have to do mobility and stretch every day, or like I can't wipe my ass, like legitimately the shoulders won't allow, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like sit there till my feet get numb, you know, just scrolling on Instagram, like. But
yes, tell us, is there towards the end when I was leaving, like we were kind of doing this new joint program, and they had a guy come in who had all these certifications for like, you know, fitness or whatever, and but he would like they were trying to and it was like right when I was leaving, so I don't know what came of this afterwards, but it seemed like they were trying to have somewhat of like a fitness like a coach or like trainer of some type with each battalion.
No.
That could lead stretch. Like they don't have that right now.
No, they have it at SOI. But it's like the Human Performance Center. I think they're trying to still get it. Like you can request one, you know, and like schedule a PT session or a recovery thing. But
okay, yeah.
But I mean, it's kind of like it's not to each battalion yet.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know why there's not more of a like you said, doing mobility, doing things the smarter way, like athletes would, to kind of take care of these guys' bodies, because
it's on the person, man. So that's what like if let's say we do it twice a week, you know, and I'm like, hey, we're gonna do mobility like for your shoulders and your legs. Well, you got to do it, you know, the other 5 days. It's like physical therapy. Like you're not going to get good from physical therapy unless you're doing it on your own. So it's like a lot of it's on the dude. Like we can make them, and that's the good thing about unit PT, right? If you're doing like at least squad level, it's like, okay, I'm going to make you stretch for 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to, because I'm in charge. I'm responsible for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if you're gapping it off, I'm going to say something, you know?
Yeah.
But that's that. And then, I mean, like the last big thing I noticed is like the social media, I think, is killing us. You know?
I agree with that.
Because
I think that's a total too.
Explain that a little. Like guys are using it too much. They're posting.
No, it's so like, for example, like, so like this is cool. And like, I like Controversy and Clarity podcast. You guys should check that out. It's good. Like military one, right? Where they do like guys who are still in, like a lot of guys like that, you know, that were, you know, just big time in the Marine Corps. Right. But it's cool. It's just a conversation and stuff, whatever. It's not like a huge cloud thing. Now it's like, you know what like leadership is? It's like posting your guys. Like I'm telling you, if you tell these guys that there's a camera there, they'll like do anything, you know, like they'll buckle down, they'll use cover, all this stuff, you know, because they're getting filmed, you know?
Yeah.
That's like their gratification. And like even like leadership. Go on, like I got guys who are my past, you know, COs that I was attached to, and like their like leadership, right, is let me do a video, have a whiteboard and talk like these intangible fucking things, you know what I'm saying? Where I'm like, dude, get your guys out there, you know, like that the amount of time you're doing on this, you know, like you need to, you know, do your training packages or, you know, the order, you know what I'm saying? You can figure it out, you can make it better. But like a lot of the leaders, and I think mostly on like the officer side where I don't agree with, it's they try to get out there and like, oh, we're trying to reach people and do like good change. But I'm like, I don't know. I don't have time to be posting stuff at 12:05 on a Thursday. How are you making a video right now? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, why are you saying this shit to Instagram, but you're not holding a formation talking to your guys about the same thing, you know?
Right.
And and I hate it. And guys will talk like when I'm talking about like problems with the Marine Corps. They post all the time, but they won't like get from behind their computer. Like, and I think that's like a big issue with I think across the peer groups, like once you get to E6, it's like you get comfortable behind the computer. They're like, oh yeah, I wish I was out there with the boys. This sucks, but I'm admin. Like, no, man.
Mm.
Like you need to stop finding an excuse. Do it later. Like same thing. Wake up earlier, get up, or go to bed later. But
Yeah.
they'll post all this stuff. So
That's why
here's an example. Like Northern Proverbs came out for our training evolution. Whenever they were there, Northern Proverbs or Provisions, Northern Provisions.
Oh,
it's like an Instagram page.
Okay,
they came to Virginia, and every time they were around, I would see the guys just lock in. And it's like, but then it's like they go away. Now they're doing Medal of Honor runs and shit, and like not holding security. I'm like, dude, you were just doing so good when a camera was on you.
Yeah.
Now you're not.
Yeah.
So like,
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, so that's what I think is a big thing. Is a lot of guys think like this leadership is, or like the leadership is like posting stuff and being out there on like social media, and it's like, no, dude, like you want to make change, do it in your formation first,
Yeah, it's weird mindset. Like they're trying to gain followers and stuff, like using the military and.
Yeah.
But they're like, and I mean, we've been like. We're barely creeping back into social media to try to like for the podcast, but like this is all like news to me. Like I couldn't imagine what got like I know we had all that stuff and Snapchat and everything, but it's like you said, it's like we were so busy like just trying to be good at our job and stuff. It's like I never thought about like, oh, I'm gonna live stream this like machine gun range. Like I'm sure, but I could only imagine getting out of hand.
If we had our phones out there, if we were videotaping anything, even as a PSO or just on the line, if I'm in flak and Kevlar and I pulled out my phone to videotape, like that was culturally unacceptable.
Yeah,
you
weren't even supposed to bring your phone.
Yeah. And it's just like a lot of narcissism stuff too, like where it's like kind of the last point on it. It's like guys who have done stuff, like they'll post a picture like in their chucks with, their combat action ribbon, but say like their combat action ribbon doesn't matter and all this other stuff, It's like, no, dude, like you just want people like you're being cocky about being humble. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm like, okay, take all this combat related stuff done and just talk in your camis. So no one sees your career here in your chucks, right?
Yeah.
And no one sees like memories from, Afghan, Iraq, Syria, what have you, fucking whatever you want to put. And then just do that. But it's like, no, because you want people to know what you've done, And that's just my opinion. I don't think it's appropriate. I wish like our senior leaders would kind of stop doing it and just kind of focus on the thing,
Yeah.
I think it's a distraction.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I definitely get what you're saying, and that would be so frustrating. It's like you said, that if you want to have little side projects, trying to like gain Instagram followers, like there was guys in our peer group that had like a shitload of followers, and they would like post some motivational things or like, like it's like, okay, like this is cool, but they were doing it on their own time, like after work or something. Like it wasn't during the job, like I don't know. I don't remember there being too many issues with like phones and things when we were in like, someone might sneak it out to the field and it's just like, they get reamed out or whatever. But it was like, I can only imagine though, it's just becoming more and more prevalent. And as younger and younger guys come in, it's just, that's the main form of communication. And good luck.
And it's just like, I agree. And
it's
just like, we can change the culture, but people, that's what it is. It's like to reach the younger group. And I'm just like, once we get them, we just need to like change that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like not make it as acceptable. But then again, I'm doing like a podcast. So I guess I'm kind of like a hypocrite, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like the constant,
but
I guess from especially like
you're not
senior
at work right
leaders.
Now.
Yeah. It's,
and we're just buddies, like
But
up, like it's not.
yeah, you know what I mean.
You're not going
kind
on
of
Joe
like
Rogan. They should like say it anything, you know.
Yeah, go on Joe Rogan in my chucks.
He might see this video and request you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, all in all though, like it's not bad. You know what I'm saying? We're getting smarter. We're making good changes. So
I'm sure there's pros and cons. Like we touched on earlier, guys, these infantry guys are like, there's probably Lance Corporals that you have right now that would just like blow me away in terms of how much stuff they have to know, you know, and like now getting into the drones and everything. And it's just like, dude, I bet like some of these guys are extremely impressive Marines at a young age, but then you also get the mix of like, you know, the social media kids trying, you know, and it's got to be tough, but I know, like, we hear you saying all these things. We know it's not like it's all negative. Like you're just touching on a few things here and there, but
yeah,
I know there's probably so many positives that have occurred, like since me and Nick got out.
Oh yeah, like 31 Bravos. You know what I'm saying? Like we got 2 night vision goggles now. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of the gear we're getting, it's good. You know what I'm saying? Like we're going in the right direction. You know. Like when it comes to playing catch up, you know, like I don't know if you saw the SCO, like the squad common optic. It's like it's like cheating on the rifle range. Like it's like, you know, it's insane. But yeah, a lot of good gear and stuff like that, you know, and so like that's all good.
What about for our 0351 listeners? It's just gone, right? Like
yeah, so we have engineers now. So like I had 4 engineers attached to my platoon.
Oh wow!
But they're not shooting rockets, so it's weird. We have like a Moz squad, so guys who just do Moz. So like 84 millimeter rocket, right?
Yeah, is it the Gustav or?
Yeah, the Carl Gustav, right?
Yeah.
And then we have the engineers who just do demo. It can also like demo / obstacle improvement. And like I'll be honest, like it works, but it doesn't. Because here's the difference, right? Is the engineers think of themselves as like engineer, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think they don't focus as much on some of our training. I think that was a big problem in my platoon specifically. But they're very narrow focused on like being an engineer. You know what I'm saying? To where like you guys, it was like essentially this is how I felt with you guys. It's like I'm an 0311 until I need to be a 51.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you're a rifleman with a rocket on your back. And, you know.
Or the demo, because it's like it's a short job, you know. Where the difference with a machine gun, right, is, hey, I'm up on a hill or an Overwatch, right? Like I have a 30-pound gun. You know, it's kind of limited for me to do anything else but be like, you know, machine gun, you know, machine gun guy. But you guys, it's like, hey, critical event needs to happen. I need a rock. I need something exploded, right? Or I need a rocket shot at something, like it needs to be reduced, or we need to breach this wall, this wire, whatever. But once it's done, lane's proved everything. It's like, cool, right back in the stack doing your thing, you know?
Right.
And I would say probably like just as much, if not, you know, more proficient than, you know, a lot of the 11s. Like not just talking shit. It's just like the GT's a little bit, you know, higher because of the math that needs to be done.
Yeah. We, you know, I think, and Nick could touch on this too, but like our section we had in 3-7, we would talk about those things. Like we would try to have that pride, like not like, you know, not arrogance or anything, but it was kind of like we need to be, like you said, just as good or preferably better than, you know, at the 03 skills, the 0311 skills, because there's this whole other part of the job. It's like you don't even want to be thinking about like, you know, basic 0311 task. Like you want that to just flow so smoothly so that when the time comes when you have to place a charge or whatever. And we saw like, that
it'll be a liability, you know?
Yeah. And it's like after every task, like Love was saying, like you breach a door, then it's rifle, you're going in, you're an 11. You shoot a rocket, and then the rocket's done, you're going through the rest of the range as an 11. Like, it really
you're
is
still
like
buddy rushing.
Yeah, you have it's probably 80% of the job, other than the demo charges, the rockets, and the breachings aspect of it. All other than that, or like even like we'd play the charges, the Bangalores on the C wire. You blow through the C wire, and then you're fucking in the line running through, and from there on out, you're just doing 11 shit. So you'd have to know it through and through to be proficient.
And that was, I want to ask you about, and now we might have lost some listeners because we're really getting into just like all the Marine Corps specifics, but it's fine. Like, I like talking about this stuff. But the issue we saw a lot of time, because the combat engineers would a lot of times fall under me, or if I wasn't whoever they would fall under the section leader for the assaultmen, and then you saw that lapse in, like, they're not infantry guys. They didn't know like buddy rushing and simple things half the time. So then you're on a breach site and you tell like a combat engineer to go hold security somewhere, and they're not even like taking a knee. And I'm saying this is like general, like there was a lot of combat engineers that were like really fucking good guys that I worked with.
Yeah.
There'd be a sergeant that he saw those things and he would want his guys to be like just as good as the infantrymen. Like there were some really good combat engineer sections, but overall it was like, oh shit, like we gotta like take a few minutes and like get these guys up to speed before we go, because it's like you assume everyone around you knows the basics, and then they're from a different world.
Yeah, they so like what I think was smart is they attached 4-man teams to each platoon. So it was like,
that's really good.
Like, so like we deployed in April. I think they were permanently attached to me February, So we had, a couple months plus, deployment to kind of fix that. The team leader, Ivers, he deployed with 3-6 before. So this dude was like literally an assaultman. Like this guy was good to go. Like really, he is good to go. He gets out and like, I think he's already out. But really good to go, dude. I'll tell you, here's the difference. Is like, question, how many, like you guys had 5-man squads, but you worked in buddy pairs, right?
Is 4. So
4-man squads, but you worked in buddy pairs essentially.
Yeah,
for the most part.
Yeah,
So the difference is like I can take an assault for you 4 guys. I think I could take you 4 and put you, hey, you're a fire team, and you're gonna do just fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you can't do that with the engineers because now it's 4 dudes. You can if you get them trained to that way, but now you have 4 dudes. One guy maybe really good to go. The other 3 are kind of followers. Like more junior, whatever. So it's like, what do you do now? Well, split them up. Do like 2 and 2, because they're going to work in a buddy pair. So put 2 guys with this team, 2 guys with this team. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but they want to work in a 4-man team all the time. Like just seeing it with my eyes, I'm like, yeah, doctrinally, I get this. Okay, whatever. But like, I watched you guys do this range, just you 2, and you were fine. It took one guy went up there for security, another guy, laid the charge, ran back. Yeah. One guy near side, one guy far side of a breach, done. You know what I'm saying? But they want to work. They want to work as a 4-man team all the time. Where I think we could just get like, hey, you 2 with this squad, you 2 with this squad. Now you have 2 guys who aren't as read in, kind of like any other enabler, right? Like you have like the RO. The RO is probably not the best at mount or but you put them with a competent team leader, guy who can handle it. Do the same thing. But there's a lot of pushback with that. And then also like administratively, it's easier. You keep them 4 together. So like that's where people kind of got to work it out. But I will say it kind of depends on the group. Like if you get a guy who's been with the Victor unit, he's going to be fast. He's going to be, not cut any corners, but just know what he needs to do. He's fast with the demo. It's awesome. You get guys who have been like combat engineer battalion or went to like the LCE, so like the logistics combat element, right? They're usually slower, like really by the book, not as efficient, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like
in regards to time, like the outcome's the same. It's just one was faster than the other. You guys would always just, I felt like, smack it down, you know, where you just throw it down. Like I see you guys buddy rushing, like throwing the Bangalore or whatever, you know, smoking a cigarette around the C4. It's like, hey, if you know how it works, it's safe, okay? Like,
right. Yeah, like you're handling very, you know, very dangerous materials, but like you get so much training with it that you know. And then yeah, like going through all the reps, you learn, like we start getting those SOPs, and you have certain things taped in a weird way, and like, you know, stuff that's not taught from the book, but you know, like, all right, this is going to save us like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And that's huge when you're standing in front of a door, you know, that someone could shoot through. Like you want to save those.
Or like me and my boys only have 100 rounds left. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like the second, third order effects of being slow at the breach site, whether it's mount or it's, you know, on a range, combat, whatever. It's like someone's suppressing for you. You know what I'm saying? So like,
yeah. If they say you got 30 seconds, it's like you probably got 20. Like make it fucking happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's fun talking about this stuff, and it's like I just you know, like I said, we're really enjoying life right now, and I think me and Nick are in a really good spot, and a lot of like just so much positivity, and like life is good for sure. But then like when we'll have a phone call, start talking about some Marine Corps stuff. It's just like, man, like should I go fucking get back in the reserves? You start missing it. But that's just chapters of life, man. So sometimes I wish I was still back in like certain parts of high school, you know, but like it's over, you move on, and now we just look back at these fond memories. But you're still there, and you know, my only advice would just be to my dog is scratching the door, but just and you're not one of these guys that would ever gaff. Like I know you fucking hit it 100%, but like just let's say maybe you have about 7 years left at most, like just fucking keep crushing it, and like make those 7 years, like keep helping out the next guys that are coming in, you know, and we can sit back and we'll keep having you on the show, and we can say thank you for your service, because we know how bad it sucks sometimes. And, you know, people just throw that out there. They hear someone's in the military, but it's like, if I know a guy is in the Marine Corps infantry, is continuing to deploy, like going to the field, I am like legitimately like, thank you for your service, because like I don't have to do it anymore. You know, like you get what I'm saying? Like it's a lot to keep saying like, yeah, I'll do it again. I'll do it again. You know, like you're doing good shit, man.
Thanks, dude.
Oh yeah.